It's Trey Styles on the beat.
What is
That's
up,
dope.
you guys? You like it? You like it?
That is dope. That is dope. I'm like, shoot,
Yeah,
man,
that's
I
my
might
little
get stuck.
intro, you guys. I finally got my own little intro. So I'm moving up in this content creating world. Shout out for your
Yeah,
girl.
for real.
You
Shout
guys,
out, man. I need to step my game up.
right. I am back with my homie. Introduce yourself. For those who don't know, we were here last week talking about the NFL, recapping week 3. It is week 4. Introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are already.
Yep, they call me Notty. You can find me at In the Game Network. Also, One Man Cave. That's on YouTube. All the shows on the In the Game Network are there. Also, I'm One Man Cave on X, uh, IG, and TikTok. Or I think on TikTok they got me at Enrique James 8. But if you look at One Man Cave, it should pop up too. So yeah, just follow me and check out some of these shows I did. We were talking about Martin the other day on your show. And it was so funny because today on my show, I got a show on Mondays called The Raw Side of Things. And the guest this week was Brahman from the Fifth Flow.
Really?
Right. So that was a pretty good interview. So I'm gonna be making some clips real soon and putting that out on
Oh,
TikTok.
that's pretty cool. I gotta check it out. OMG. Oh man, hold on. What's up? What's up? I see y'all going in chat already about Shedeur. We about to get right into it, you guys. Because look, this is supposed to be Monday night football. It's supposed to be exciting, and yeah, we are watching this game. Like the Dolphins and the Jets was not a good game already. Thank God that ended. But now we are forced to watch just 2 back-to-back awful, boring games. And I'm like, I know Joe Burrow went out, but you have to account for your star QB getting hurt. Your backup got to deliver. This score right now is 21-3. It's been 21-3 for a while. I'm in the fourth
Yeah,
quarter. Like this is awful.
yeah. Honestly, I thought that Browning would be a lot better than what he has shown to be because in the past when he's come in for Burrow, he's played pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people were thinking that Browning was actually capable of being a starter. If a team just needed a starter, they can come pick him from Cincinnati and he would serve their team well. But I'm watching this game tonight, and the truth of the matter is, I can't even put it all on Browning. This offensive line is trash. And that's why Joe Burrow is not playing right now because his offensive line is trash. They've been trash ever since Joe Burrow got there. And there's a reason why Joe Burrow has been hurt 3 out of the last 4 years.
So let me ask you something. How much of this is on Joe Burrow? Because he did go and advocate last season for Jamar Chase to get his money and T. Higgins.
Right.
But you forgot about the rest of the offensive line. So when all the money is pretty much going to your 3 top players, it doesn't really leave much room for everybody else on the cap space. So does he have any part of responsibility for them not having a good O-line?
I can't put this on Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow is supposed to advocate for his teammates. That's what any player is supposed to do. It's up to the general manager, and well, see, that's one of the problems. The Cincinnati Bengals don't really have a general manager. They don't even have that many scouts serving in their team, and so you're not supposed to listen to the quarterback. All that stuff, pay Chase, pay T. Higgins, pay my guys. That's good in the media because it says Joe Burrow is showing support for those guys. But it's up to the general manager and those guys in the front office to say, this is what we need to make the team better. We need to protect you. Any front office president or general manager already understands if I pay my quarterback $250 million, I need to protect him. That's what you're supposed to do. And the Bengals have failed to protect Joe Burrow.
You know what's so crazy? I learned, I forgot which sports show I was watching, but I know we always assume that owners have money. I'm one of those ones like they got money, figure it out.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how much they might have individually, but as a collective, they were saying that the Bengals like are not a rich franchise. Like they had to like sell some of the naming rights or like a percentage of the naming rights to the actual stadium so they could pay Jamar and T Higgins. I'm like, that's wild. Is that? I was like, really? That's crazy.
That's a farce. That's
You
not
don't
true.
believe it? You don't
No,
believe it? No.
all these owners got money. They can pay all the players if they want to pay the players. You know, especially when you talk about signing bonuses and guarantees and things of that nature. They can pay. Ever since I started watching football a long time ago, maybe in the late 80s, the Bengals have always been the thriftiest franchise, just to speak nicely. They've been the thriftiest franchise in all of football. They never pay. They never like to pay. They always,
That's true.
right. They're always
Trying to cut corners.
economical.
Get a discount.
Right. So this whole notion that they don't have the, first of all, you're not going to be on the football team if you don't have the money. You already got to have that 280 million that's for the salary cap. That already got to be in escrow. These guys are billionaires. The NFL, each owner, I mean, and I'm not even counting ticket prices and merchandise and all that. They each made over $700 million profit. That's just last year.
Wow.
They ain't even got into the merchandise and the tickets and all that kind of stuff. I'm
But how
just
much
talking
of that
about
is tax, though?
TV. I'm talking about TV deal.
But how much of that is tax?
Yeah, it's tax, but we all understand. Well, I don't know. We all understand, but once you start making that kind of money, yeah, you're in the separate tax bracket. But they know how to manipulate the taxes. This is, I mean, once you start getting up there high, it comes down to politics. There's a reason why a lot of people are complaining about, you know, Donald Trump making tax cuts for the super rich and instead of doing it for the people at the bottom. These are the super rich that they talking about. So they always find a way to circumvent taxes, just like the good ones, like Jerry Jones, know how to circumvent the salary cap. It's just economics at the end of the day, but they have the money. Don't never let them fool you and thinking they don't have the money. They got it.
I mean, I always think I never thought that they were broke, but I was like, really, they had like they're selling part of the naming rights to the stadium. Like, is that really true? Like, I don't know if it was true, but they were talking about. I think it was on Get Up. It was Get Up. They were talking about it. Greeny was saying it a few weeks ago, and I was like, wow, that's not even a good look.
What franchise don't sell naming rights to the stadiums? In
Atlanta, see, I don't know how many do it. You know, like I haven't researched that.
In Atlanta. If you go to Washington, they had the FedEx Field. I don't know if it's fit. Hell, even in Dallas, it's what AT&T Stadium. Everywhere you go, all these stadiums are selling naming rights, and it puts more money in the pocket of the owners.
Gotcha. What's up, yeah? How are those cookies, girl? All right, you guys. So getting right into it because. Brown and Drake is just looking awful. Like he just got knocked down again, you guys. Like it's on my screen as I'm on live here talking to y'all. He's just getting knocked around tonight. That could be him. It could be the O-line. It could be a combination of things. But the point of the matter is that you know what? I think at this point they just need to go on ahead and just call it out.
Well, you know, last one he held the ball too long. You gotta get rid of the ball.
That too, yeah. I mean, he's trying to figure out like trying to buy himself some time. But I know Shedeur took a lot of flack a few days ago because he said, you know, look at the play. I'm paraphrasing, you know, around the league. I know that I could do better than that. You know, like he was confident in it. And when you look at Jake Brown and you look at Bryce Young, you know, like, you know, you look at some of these players, you're like, Shedeur really could, Joe Flacco, like Shedeur could look the same, just as bad or a little bit better because they're not winning games. So it's like at this point, like what you got to lose by putting somebody else in there, and why not let it be Shedeur? Did you hear? I'm gonna play this soundbite real quick because I heard it early and I was like, wait, what? He is always talking wild. I'm gonna know your thoughts. I'm playing right now.
Stefanski is one of an outstanding coach. All right. But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see the Shedeur Sanders be the guy or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
All right, you guys. That's Rex Ryan. That is Rex Ryan.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
What did you think about that?
A great coach in his own right.
What do you think about what he said, though, about Shedeur?
Man, you know, I really like Shedeur. I watched all his games at Jackson State, Colorado. I pulled for Shedeur, but I'm not a fanboy. You know, I just like to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
There's some credence into what Rex Ryan said. I mean, maybe he could take some of the aggressions out of his tone when he says it. But
he could change the tone, but get the same message.
Right, get the same message, but just change the tone, because when you say it in that tone, it almost sounds like you don't like Shedeur. But what I heard was his passion in which he said it. He really likes Shedeur. He just wants him to go about things a different way. You know, we talked about it last week, how important the quarterback role is and how you must present yourself as a quarterback. And there's an etiquette to being a quarterback. And when Shedeur came out and said the things he said, I agree with him. But it's not for you to say. Especially,
what was the question that was asked? Because I couldn't find the actual question that was asked. I see his answer. What did they ask him?
You know what? I don't know the question they were asked either. I only heard the response to the question. And a lot of times I do like to go back and find out what question was asked.
Yeah, I wanted to know.
I just haven't been able to find the context of the. But I do know this: when he answered the question that he was asked, the first thing he said, which lets me know he knew better, I really shouldn't answer this.
Okay.
And when you start off your answer with, I really shouldn't be saying what I'm about to say, then you probably shouldn't be saying what you're about to say. And, you know, but he couldn't help himself because he's Shedeur.
So Adam says the Bengals do need Shedeur. That's a good call. Yeah, they definitely look. At this point, I know Joe is going to be out for a while. I'm not exactly sure when he's going to come back, but when it will even make sense for him to come back the way it looks like this season's going to go. I mean, thank God they started off 2-1. You know what I mean? Like otherwise they'd really be down in the dumps. But I'm like, have him come back and rush back for this O-line. I'm like, I'm not even sure that's wise.
Which is why I'm gonna say that it's probably a good thing that Shedeur is not with the Bengals, because if he was behind this O-line, he would look just as bad, and then everybody would say, "See, we told you he couldn't play." It's a team game. No quarterback is good when the offensive line is this bad, unless you got 4.3 speed and you can just create stuff, you know, out of the blue. But when you got to play behind the offensive line, that soon they hike the ball, the whole defensive line is in your backfield. It's hard for any quarterback to play like that.
I wanted to ask you, it feels like every time Shedeur says something, people like upset. I mean, he said it like, you know, a little tongue in cheek with a smile. Like he wasn't like arrogant or nasty about it. Like his tone to me was it was like a joke, and to me like one of those serious jokes, I call it. You know what I mean? Like I'm serious, but I'm putting a smile with it. So it goes down a little bit smoother when I say it. But I'm just like, I don't mind it, because when you look, what is he supposed to say? Like, I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I think I could do better. Maybe if, you know, you give me a chance, like, yeah, I could do better than some of these players.
I'm glad he feels like that. Yeah, I'm glad he feels like that. But when you have a quarterback in your own locker room who is suspect, who's struggling, it's a bad time to say it, because it almost comes across like he's not a good teammate. Like he's rooting for his teammates to fail. And it's just not a good look for the quarterback, especially when you haven't earned the right to be the guy who's starting. So until that time, just keep your head down, keep working, keep grinding, and when your number is called, go out there and show the world that got it wrong, and that you've been the guy that you claim you have been this whole time. And then everybody look at the media and they say, "See, we told you." But let us do that. Let us fight for you at this point. All you gotta do is keep your head down, stay in your playbook, grind it out, be patient, and wait your turn, because that's all you can do right now.
I'm gonna read. Adam's dropping a lot of comments in here. I'm gonna read this comment. There's nothing wrong with the QB saying I can play better than these guys. I would love that as a coach. Something else I want to say really quickly, because it's like other day everybody was mad at him for when we found out that he didn't want to go to the Ravens. He passed on the Ravens and he passed on the Eagles. So although he is confident in himself, he also knows what his limitations are. He's like, I'm going to pass on the Ravens. I'm going to pass on the Eagles because I know I am not better than Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson. And it's just not going to happen there. So I'm going to go someplace else where I can at least have a chance to compete. So it's like everybody's mad, like, oh, he's cocky. He thinks he's this, he thinks he's that. I'm like, well, at the same time, he also passed on situations because he knows that he's not going to get the chance because of who they already have. So he's not an idiot. Like he knows he's talented, but I'm not that right now. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But he's a fifth round. He's a fifth round quarterback.
He was drafted in the fifth round.
Yeah,
but he's not,
I mean,
talent.
you all like Bill Parcells said, you are what your record says you are. Your record says that you're a fifth round quarterback, regardless of what you believe. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. He's a sixth round quarterback at the end of the day. And when Tom Brady was drafted to New England, he was the fourth string quarterback. He wasn't even the backup. He wasn't the third string. He was the fourth string quarterback. They had just paid Drew Bledsoe $100 million. He was the first quarterback to get $100 million. History will have it. Tom Brady moved up. He kept his head down. He worked hard. He moved up. Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Tom Brady came in. The rest is history. They sent Drew Bledsoe to Dallas. So you never know when your time is going to get called. You never know if Lamar is going to get hurt and it's going to be your time to step up. You never know if Jalen Hurts is going to go down and it's going to be your time to step up. When you
Lamar's hurt now, actually.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. If he was with Baltimore Ravens right now, he would still have been the third string because they paid Cooper Rush to be the backup, and Cooper Rush is one of the highest paid backups in the league because of what he did with Dallas. He showed Dallas when Dak went down, I can come in and win 4-5 games. So that's what you want out of a backup quarterback. You want a quality guy. Cooper Rush is a quality guy that a lot of teams think could possibly be a starter if he needed to be.
See, I realize that it's not just about drafting or getting a backup QB or a third string. You got to get guys that are going to fit within the system you already have for your starting QB. That's the first thing. So I'm looking at Cooper Rush, because obviously Lamar went down hamstring. Well, they pulled him out because it just was a bad day yesterday against the Chiefs. But
yeah,
I'm
terrible.
like, your skill set is not complementary to Lamar Jackson. So now you have to find a way, like mid-game, to kind of figure something out where it's going to work in that game. You can score. You know what I mean? I don't know all of every backup QB's strengths and weaknesses, but I feel like just me thinking, and just as a fan, if I'm going to bring a backup QB in the third string, I want QBs that have similarities so that I don't have to change my whole offense completely when you come in, because he looked like he was just out of sorts yesterday. I was like, not the same Cooper I saw coming for Dak.
Right. Well, logically, that makes sense what you said. The problem is I can't find another quarterback that runs a 4-3 and got a cannon. So I can't find another quarterback that's going to be what Lamar is for me, or else.
Well, not the same, but similar. At least use your legs, something like just similar. It doesn't have to be the same, but just complementary.
Right. Well, most of the time when you have a backup quarterback in, what you want him to be able to do is manage the game, don't turn the ball over, and allow our defense to keep us in games. And with the running game that they have, maybe we can get away. If you have to come in and play 4 games, maybe we can win 2 of them. We can go 2-2. That means you kept the ship steady. You didn't allow the boat to sink. That's really what you want out of your backup. So it's hard for teams to find a backup that plays similar to a guy that they have starting, especially when that guy that you have starting is as dynamic as a Lamar Jackson. It's just a difficult thing to do.
I'm going to read this comment because y'all having some good comments in here. I'm trying to keep an eye listening to you, so I'm getting everything. What's up, God? Saw beginnings and knows, and the jury is too much as well. Establish yourself first as a starter and franchise QB, and then show out. I don't see what his jury's an issue. I mean, this is who he's been for a while. Like that's his personality. You know, he's flashy. You know, he's out there. And there are a lot of people in the NFL, NBA who are not necessarily starters or stars, but that's what they wear. You know, like if we're focusing on the jewelry that he's wearing, it's like what are we doing? Like if he wants to come there in a white tee and some sweats, then that's his business. Like I don't understand why it feels like we always want, and it feels like we're always telling like black QBs or young black men like to like dim your light. Like why? Like why can't I be who I'm gonna be? Like let me be who I'm gonna be. If I'm not bothering anybody, like overall, Shedeur is a good young man. Like he's a good kid. I say kid because
I
he's young.
agree.
You know, like
I
you don't
agree.
really hear about him like out in the club. You don't when you see him. I saw him at a school with some young kids. He surprised them. I saw him. I think they had something happen in Cleveland. I saw him spend his time there. I think I saw him go to a hospital. Like he's not out doing anything bad. He's not drinking. He's not clubbing. He's gonna have 5 mamas look for paternity tests right now. Like nothing crazy's
Right.
happening. So I'm just like, let him
Right.
live. This is the worst that he does is wear some jewelry and he puts in the mouthpiece. Okay, like so what? What are your thoughts on it though?
I have no problem with him wearing jewelry. I mean, Joe Burrows wore jewelry. Kirk Cousins used to win, beat folks, and put on the joints and they used to call him Kirk 2 Chains because every time he beat somebody, he'll put on a new chain, you know. So I have no problem with that.
Do you
I
think
can
Shedeur should wait till he's a starting QB first to then put on like the flashy jewels, or he's okay with it now? Do you agree?
I'm okay with it now. My only issue with Shedeur is just stay under the radar because there's a lot of attention. I've never seen a third string quarterback with this much attention on them. Most teams
Yeah,
don't even know who the third string quarterback is. I mean,
that's
we
true.
know Jameis Winston is the third string quarterback with the Giants, but
Mhm.
that's because Jameis Winston always doing silly stuff and having these stupid motivational speeches that he gives.
And he's hilarious.
Right, it's clownish. When
Mhm.
you're a third string quarterback and all this attention that's put on you, it gives off the sense that you're clownish. And I don't want him to have that mark on him. No, I believe he's a serious quarterback who's a competitor who's capable of winning in this league. But there's a such thing as quarterback etiquette. So I get where that person is coming from who left the comment in the chat. I just think that it's okay to be yourself to a certain extent and still go out there and perform. But when you get out there and perform, you already know you better knock it out the park because a lot of criticism is going to be coming your way.
That's the unfortunate thing. Adam said he made a good decision to go to Cleveland. It's Stefanski choosing Dylan over him, even though he's outshined Dylan in practice. He couldn't have known he wouldn't get a fair chance. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. At this point, honestly, I said from the beginning, Joe Flacco was never going to be the answer. You know, that was just
Right.
obvious. Like he was
Right.
like a bridge quarterback. At
Yeah.
what point? Because even though like they won that game, like Joe Flacco does not look good. He just doesn't look good. So at what point do you put Dylan in and then Shedeur to see what you got? And you know, as far as do you have your guy? Because at this, like, what are we doing? Like what is Cleveland doing?
I agree. Cleveland has a very good defense, and
They do.
and one thing Stefanski, he has to be cognizant of is the temperature of the locker room. He has veterans in there like Myles Garrett and Benito and all those guys, Denzel Ward, Newsome. Those guys have a lot of say-so in what's going on in Cleveland. And those guys were vouching for Joe Flacco being the starter when it all started. So Joe Flacco, the idea was he gives us the best chance to win early. Now we already know that at some point Joe Flacco is going to be he's not the guy. He's not the future. I think after one more loss, because I think the Green Bay win bought him more time. But if he looks the way he did this week, next week, then I think it's time to go to Gabriel, and then let's see where the chips fall after that. If Gabriel doesn't perform, then we gotta see what Shedeur looks like. If Gabriel does perform, then we give him enough rope until he falls off. But I'm about ready to see Dylan Gabriel go in so we can go ahead and get to where we need to get to.
I mean, you know how I feel. I'm like, we can skip past Dylan and go to
No, you
Shedeur.
can't. You can't do
But I
that.
understand, you know, how the politics work. He's a third round, yada yada yada. He's a backup
Right, and he
QB, whatever,
earned it.
whatever,
He
whatever.
earned
Like,
it.
you
He
know,
earned
okay.
it.
We'll believe that. We'll leave that one alone. But you know, he got drafted ahead of Shedeur. So in
Right.
all fairness, he does have to get his shot. I'm just give one of them a shot. You know, because I'm just like, you got to know what you have by next April. You know what I mean? Like you got to know that. Otherwise, you just wasted a whole year because you know for a fact Joe Flacco's not going to be the future. That's what you do know.
Oh, that's
So
what you do know.
is it
Right.
going to be Dylan? Is it going to be Shedeur? Maybe not even either one of them. You go ahead with somebody else. You know, you just need to know.
You're right, because see, the defense is Super Bowl good. So Cleveland,
It is, yeah.
right? So they want to make the playoffs. They want to win. All players want to win, and they believe that Joe Flacco gives them that best opportunity to win. Now, like I said, if Joe Flacco continues to play the way he's playing, I honestly, right now, I think Dylan Gabriel gives them the best shot to win. I mean, between Dylan and Flacco. Now, once
Oh, okay.
Flacco is out,
I was like, wait, what?
yeah. Now, once Flacco is out the picture, Shedeur moves up to the backup.
Mhm.
Then that's a whole different story. But right now, I think Dylan Gabriel is a better option than Joe Flacco. Now, I don't know that for sure because preseason is one thing. When you get into a real NFL game with exotic defenses and these people really trying to kill you and put food on the table for their
It's definitely
families,
different. Yeah.
it's a whole different animal.
Mhm.
So, but Flacco just can't get out the way. And I see him taking a nap on the field too much for me.
Reading this comment from this Sith Lord Prince. I haven't seen you here before. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Shout out Sith Lord.
You know who it is?
No, I'm just shouting him out though. I'm glad
Oh,
he is.
okay.
Who else he?
That O-line is so terrible, and they stay in the West Coast offense too long. Yeah, look, like I said, I don't know exactly, you know, who's making all the decisions with all these different teams, but you have to know that if you're going to make that kind of investment in Joe Burrow, and he's been hurt recently a lot, you know you need him out there, like you know that. So like you got to protect them. So you got to protect your investment. Like you got to protect your investment.
That O-line. You know what? If Joe Burrow came back, I'd tell him don't even worry about it. Hey, look, don't even worry about it. Let us get the O-line right, and then we'll put you back in. I'm not putting you in behind this. We're going to pay the other guys to come in and take this beam. And then next year we'll get some O-linemen, and then we'll put you back in. But I'm not bringing my star quarterback to play behind that. I already know it's going to happen because I already seen it.
What makes it even more unfortunate is that he had such a great year last year. Like his season, like him and Jamar, like they just had an incredible season, you know. And I'm just like, what a waste of like all of that talent, all that hard work just for nothing. It's so unfortunate, really, really is. But like I said, the quarterbacks to me, this is part of the problem because QBs like they command so much of the cap space, so much of the money, and you get it because you got to have a QB right there, the most important position. Right. But at the same time, this is a team sport. You know, like they got to have somebody to protect them. You got to have a good defense. You got to have a good receivers to throw the ball to get into the end zone. Like all these things work together for the whole. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know how they figure that out or how they need to go about figuring that out. But something has to be done because otherwise you're paying them $60 million a year, but they always out because they hurt.
Right. Well,
you just wasting money.
Well, and me and Sam have this argument all the time that I believe that every player should never let the owner off the hook. Get as much money as you possibly can. Don't take any pay cuts. That's my stance. But I do understand what Sam says because some of the greatest players that I've ever seen in sports when it comes to winning championships, Tom Brady, Tim Duncan, they take pay cuts so the rest of the team can be better. Tom Brady never was a highest paid quarterback because he took pay cuts so the defense can be good, so he can have offensive linemen out there to protect them. And now that he wins championship, soon as he stopped playing, because he's Tom Brady, he has 7 championships. Fox gave him $375 million. Well, that makes up for the money that I gave back. So you can make a lot of money off the field or off the court if you have championships on your resume. And that's something to consider for every player. Like, do I want to give a little bit back so that I can get better players around me so that I can have a better chance of winning, knowing that me winning is going to get me the accolades and the money that I'm leaving off the table. It's going to get me that off the field. So, I mean, that's definitely something to consider for some of these quarterbacks, especially a guy like Joe Burrow.
So moving on, because Shedeur is not the only one who is not having the season that he expected to have. You also have Cam Ward, number one overall pick, and it's giving losing right now. You know, I'm trying to put it as nicely as I can. But what was funny was they asked him, did you see his press conference? They asked him how he felt, obviously, what was happening. And he was very honest. So I'm just going to play that sound real quick for y'all. I love the honesty.
I mean, we keeping the bulk right now. We ass. So we 0-4. We have, this point, we got nothing to lose. We dropped a quarter of our games, and we've yet to do anything. So we have to lock in, especially myself on the offensive line, from the defensive line, from the special teams to all three faces. We have to play together. We have not played together this year yet. And that's just something that, you know, we want to preach about it every day. Every day we got to do better. And we're doing that, but it has to show up on Sundays. It hasn't showed up yet, but it got to show up next week.
So, us again, a lot of flack because he said, keep it a buck, we ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, you know how I feel about being politically correct because you're a quarterback, you're the star of the franchise, say all the right things. No, we look like shit. Like, we suck. like that's how we look.
He said the right things. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. He took accountability as a quarterback first. He said, starting with me, especially with me, and then he went to the O-line and D-line, special teams, because he know that team has a whole lot of issues. The one thing that's working in Cam's favor right now is during the off season, a lot of the attention was on Shedeur. And so it kind of kept him under the radar. And even right now, he's still kind of under the radar. He's not getting the same criticism as a first round pick who's going 0-4 and didn't score any points last week.
He didn't at all.
Yeah, so
he was 10 to 26. 10 to 26.
Right. I don't know too many first number one picks that would get away. I mean, Travis Hunter is getting more backlash than he is, and Travis Hunter can play quarterback. So, but he's right. He's right. That team has a whole lot of issues. That was the reason why they were number one pick in the draft, because they just weren't good. And it wasn't just in one phase of the game. It's in multiple phases of the game. He doesn't have elite receivers all around him. He doesn't have I mean, Justin Simmons is good on that defensive line, but he doesn't have elite defenders on the other side of that ball. There's just a lot of issues in Tennessee, but he's a rookie, so this will be his worst season of his career. Just like Peyton Manning's first year, I think they were 2-14. Peyton Manning might have led the league in interceptions. That next year and beyond, he was one of the best quarterbacks we ever saw. So you just have to get out of this fire without burning the ashes. If he can get out of this fire without burning the ashes, he's gonna be all right going forward.
My thing is, obviously, when you get drafted first, second, third, like you're going to a franchise that's not good, right? And you're expected to go there and turn it around, especially if you're a quarterback. But a lot of the times, I feel like they do not set these QBs up for success. Like, you draft them high, and then you want them to come in and do God's work, so to speak. But you don't have the right personnel around them for them to succeed. And then ultimately, we're like, well, what happened to Cam? What happened with that one? In a few years, they're like on the bench. And it's like, well, we thought he was all that, so to speak, right? So it's like, but what do you think they need to do before they draft these QBs number one? You know, like, my thing is, get your O-line together. Get them some weapons. You know, like you got to get them something to work with. Like, you can't just put them out there and just say, okay, save us. Save my job. Like, let's go. Like that's not how it goes. I feel like obviously he has natural God-given talent. But one
Right.
thing that concerned me with him was that he had one good year in college. Like before that, like this was like his last year was like his best year. You know what I mean? Came out of high
Mm-hmm.
school, he had no stars. Doesn't mean anything because you can have 0 stars and still turn out to be a great. You know what I mean? It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Right.
But I'm just like the sample size of greatness, if you want to call it that, wasn't a lot. So I'm just wondering, is it that he was maybe misjudged, or they're just not doing right by him at all?
No, I don't think they were misjudged. I mean, I believe he got the goods. I
Mhm.
really do believe that.
To be a superstar or be a
No,
game changer or game manager?
to be a great quarterback in the league.
Mhm.
When you have the first pick in the draft, you can't say, okay, I'm gonna draft a left tackle first, and then I hope I get my franchise quarterback down the road. No, that guy sitting right there, you drafted franchise quarterback then. The thing is,
Mhm.
he was supposed to be in the quarterback competition and possibly be the backup this year to Will Levis. Will Levis got
I
injured
forgot
in the
about Will.
offseason and he's out for the season. That thrust Cam Ward into a position where he was going to be the starter. Okay, so that's what it is. So what you do is you take your lumps now, you get this experience, you learn, try not to get hurt.
Mhm.
And next year, Tennessee goes into the draft. Now they have to put the pieces around them. They have to go draft O linemen. They have to go into free agency, get the top O lineman available. They have to go try to find another wide receiver to go
Mhm.
with Calvin Ridley. I think they got a good young tight end who can develop it and be pretty great in a
Mhm.
pool. But that's what you do. You have your quarterback now.
Mhm.
We've checked that off the list. Now I got to go put O lineman behind around him and get another wide receiver. And now I can have the weapons. It'll be so much easier for him to play
Mhm.
because he's already played when he has nothing around him. How much
Mhm.
better would he be if he has everything around him? So going forward, Tennessee has to put the pieces around Cam Ward. But I believe that Cam Ward got the goods.
So that goes back to my question. When was Will Levis drafted?
Will Levis, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was a second round quarterback
No,
when
it's
he came.
what year?
What year? This was had to be about 3 years ago. Let me
Mhm.
just be accurate about it. I don't want to
My
be
thing is he hasn't.
2023. He was the second round
Mhm.
of the 2023. So this
Mhm.
is just 2 years ago.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. Like, obviously, he came into it. I remember when he was drafted. Like, he wasn't obviously like the star, of the draft, but he came into it with a lot of hype, so to speak. I don't know if you put it like that. A lot of I'm gonna say a lot of expectations, but people were speaking highly of him. I'll keep it
Yeah, they
respectful,
were
leave it
speaking
like
highly
that.
of
Like
him.
they
Right.
weren't speaking like they weren't down on him.
Right.
So he goes there, and now 2 seasons later, you get to somebody else. And so I'm like, it's like, where is the accountability in the organization doing the right thing by these young QBs? Because they come in with so much promise, you know what I mean? But it's like
Mm-hmm.
something switches and they come in and then like they're right back out like a year or two later, and you're bringing somebody else. And it's like a constant revolving door. It's like
Correct.
you're bringing somebody in, and he's a rookie. Things take time. Like you're not going to just go from being awful to win the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, I guess crazy things can happen, but more times than not, like that's not going to happen in their first season. So you know that this person's a project. You get to work with them. You got to develop them, and they're not being developed. If you ask me, they're being expected to win, but there's no
That is correct.
development. So I'm like, now I'm looking at Cam Ward and what they're doing with him. I'm like, what you gonna do next season? Bring somebody else in again? 2 seasons and Cam Ward's gonna be out?
Well, I think the Will Levis situation was a little bit different. Excuse me. It's just that, and I never thought Will Levis, I never was high up on him. But Will Levis came in and he was the backup behind
Mm-hmm.
Tannehill. And even though
Oh, I forgot
Tannehill
about him.
was
I forgot about him too. Go ahead.
right, even though Ryan Tannehill was solid, he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a star quarterback in the league.
No. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people in Tennessee was knocking at the door. We want to see Will Levis. We want Levis. We want Levis. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually they put him in the game.
And now it's like we
And
want Cam.
right. Well, Cam was the first pick in the draft.
I'm just
Will
saying, but
Levis,
coming into it, it was
second
like
round.
Cam Ward. You just kind of forgot about Will.
Yeah. Like I said, Will was still slated to potentially be the starter this year, and Cam Ward was going to compete with him as the first pick. Eventually, it was going to be Cam Ward's job, but Will Levis, they was hoping would at least be able to buy him some time. But because he got injured and he's out for the season, he didn't allow Cam Ward to sit back and learn and watch. So you got to throw him in the fire. And sometimes it's best that a young quarterback gets the opportunity to sit back and watch for a minute before they go in. I mean, even Pat Mahomes, he sat for a year behind Alex Smith. We saw Jordan Love, he sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Right. Steve Young, he sat behind Joe Montana. You know, so some of
But
the
Jordan
best.
Love, he sat behind. Sorry, to cut you off. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers. What 3 years?
Yeah.
How long was it? It was a little while. Yeah, so I'm saying
Yeah, it was a
that's
little
a lot
while.
of time.
Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. But you see how like that timing goes. Like
Yeah.
like I think Tom Brady spoke about it also. Like I think was it last season, like about the development now and where these QBs are. Like they don't know how to protect themselves. Like they're dependent on the O-line to do everything. Like they're not studying the game. And I think a lot. I mean, I guess it's both, like on both sides. As a QB, you should be studying, making sure you're reading coverages and know how to move and when you should move and reading defenses, things of that nature. I get that, but at the same time, you're supposed to put the right pieces around the person as well, around your QB. But I'm just like, there's something to me, something is happening when you have all these young, talented QBs coming in, and they're like right back out 2 seasons later.
Yeah,
It's like one, maybe two, but not the majority. I mean, you think about, look at Bryce Young a little bit. Like you think about someone like Bryce Young, it's like, come on now, what's his CJ Stroud also, he regressed. So it's like, what's going on? Like they all can't be like promised then fail.
Well, it's one thing to put pieces around a quarterback, and it's another thing to develop a quarterback.
Exactly.
Quarterbacks are really supposed to be developed in college. Once you get to the NFL, those quarterbacks that we talked about that got to sit and watch and learn, those are the quarterbacks that are getting developed. I mean, you look at when Aaron Rodgers was in Green Bay sitting behind Brett Favre, they changed Aaron Rodgers' throwing motion, his mechanics. They taught him how to have proper footwork. They developed Aaron Rodgers just like they developed Jordan Love. He got to sit back, watch. They showed him how to watch film. They worked on his footwork, how his 5-step, his 7-step drops. They worked on what a ball would release when it's coming out of his hand. That's development. But when you come out and I got to throw you right into the fire, you're gonna be as developed as you're gonna be. There's nothing I can really do to develop you. Now, what I got to do is hopefully put pieces around you. And when you talk about CJ Stroud, every year the pieces that are around him are being removed. Stephon Diggs, sometimes it's the injury. Stephon Diggs tore ACL. Tank Dell broke his leg. They got rid of Larry Tunsil, who's in Washington right now. It was his best offensive lineman. Instead of putting pieces around CJ Stroud, he's losing pieces, and it's showing in his play.
I mean, well, look, I understand sometimes, injuries happen, right? And you just have to take a step back. You don't look the same. But even without having Stephon, who was very there for like a really, really short time before he got hurt, and then obviously Tank being out, but looking at just him as an individual, the way that Tampa Bay Buccaneers had him running in that game, I was like, what is going on? I mean, he looked like he didn't know where to go, where to throw. Should he run? Should he stay? It was like he didn't it was his first time out there. I was like, what the heck happened to you? You know what I mean? Like that, some things like that. I'm just like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like I know he can't control everything, but he just looked like he was so lost. And that was concerning to me. I'm just like, well, what the heck is going on when they're like in practice? Because he looked lost out there in that game. And I was concerned. I'm concerned. I'm really concerned.
Well, when you're in practice, the quarterback wear that little red jersey that tells everybody don't hit him.
Yeah.
When you're in the game, you don't got that little red jersey on. They trying to get at your neck. CJ Stroud also, and I was talking to a friend earlier today about quarterback position. As a quarterback, do you want to throw the ball or do you want to run the ball? And most quarterbacks, they want to throw the ball. CJ Stroud is a little bit hesitant to run. He doesn't really want to be a running quarterback, so to say. But sometimes you gotta definitely when your O line is not as good as it used to be, you gotta tuck and run. You gotta get up out of there. And he doesn't want to do that a lot. So we find him do what a lot of these quarterbacks are doing, they're holding on to the ball. And the great quarterbacks, the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Manning's, the Drew Brees, and the quarterback that's worth a damn. There's a timer go off in your head at 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds at the most, that say, get this ball out of my hand. Even if I gotta throw it to somebody in the 5th row, let them have a souvenir. Some of these quarterbacks, right? Some of these quarterbacks don't want to do that. We got Lamar Jackson who runs a 4.3. Now he will run, but Lamar Jackson, the other night, he takes too many sacks because he believes that he can make a play, and he's holding on to the ball too long. You gotta get that ball out of your hand, and the best way to get that ball out of your hand is if you can read the defense. It's called the pre-snap read. You gotta know what's gonna happen before it even happens. Tom Brady knew what was gonna happen before it even happened. Peyton Manning knew what was going to happen before it happened. And when you know what's going to happen before it happened, you get the ball out your hand in 2.5 seconds, and you live to fight another day. And if I can't get it out in 2.5 seconds because what I thought was going to happen didn't happen, I just send it up to the stand somewhere. That's what you got to do. Every sometimes a throwaway is the great play.
One thing we always go back to Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. But one thing Tom Brady did was study a lot. I mean, every time I see somebody talk about him, like they're always talking about how he studied like relentlessly, like religiously, constantly looking at film, constantly trying, like wanting to get better day in, day out, so much so that he lost, like his marriage ended because like he did not want to give up on freaking football. It's like that's not there anymore. Like the whole NIL deal, you have quarterbacks now who are going places like looking how much you can pay them, what's market's best for them, all these different things. And it's like the studying, I think, is part of the reason why Tom was so successful. You know what I mean? Yes. Studying, and reading coverages and defenses, things of that nature. Peyton Manning, like that's why there's a clear difference to me in where they were and how like the success they had versus where the QBs are today.
That's any great player. Pat Mahomes. You talk about a guy like Deion Sanders. Even non-quarterbacks, Jerry Rice, hard worker, Deion Sanders. And the thing about it, and I hate to say this, but I gotta tell the truth.
What? There we go. What is it?
One of the reasons why I admire great players because I know the sacrifice that they took to be great for my entertainment pleasure. Your kids ain't gonna like you because you're never there. You're gonna miss all their graduations, their birthdays, their recitals. You're gonna divorce your wife. Your wife gonna leave you because you dedicated to your teammates, to the game. You always studying. Whether it's Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, Tom Brady, all of the greats most of the greats that I seen coming up, they had dysfunctional families because they were so dedicated to the game. And when you sacrifice all that so that I can be entertained, I gotta really appreciate what you did so that I can say that guy was great. Now, I can't knock a player. For a lot of players, it's just a job. They just want to make some money.
They just want to make money,
They still want to have a good relationship with their children. They still want to have a good relationship with their girlfriends or their wives. So they're not going to study as hard as somebody like a Tom Brady will, or somebody like a Peyton Manning, or some of these other guys, Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders. And so they're not as great, but their family is intact. I probably should appreciate them more, but I don't. I like the guys that gave it all up. So I can be entertained on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. And today's athlete is getting away from that, so to say. They're not as dedicated as the athletes in the past were.
But I think that's also, like I said, to where we are right now, because now you don't have to work as hard, I feel like. Like, you still got to put in your work, but because you have the ability to just go viral with one video or one crazy play in the game, and like your whole world changes, and you got NILs coming at you, and all the girls coming at you on TikTok and sliding in your DMs. Like it's different. You don't have to work as hard. Like a couple of flashy plays and highlights, and on Instagram, you going viral. And here come all the offers, but it's like that was one play in one game. What about everything else? So now, like the appreciation for all the hard work, getting up at 4 a.m., 4 or 5 workouts a day, having to still go to school and part-time job. If you have that kind of lifestyle, we need extra cash to pay for things and pay for your cleats and pay for your trainer. Like all that is gone, you know. So now you come into an NFL, you're like, I don't want to go to this franchise because what they gonna do for me? Like I already got my NIL deals. I got my $5 million for being a QB at LSU this past season. Like I'm not going to Jacksonville. What they gonna do for me? So I feel like the mindset is what's the biggest. That's what's different. The biggest thing.
But that's what we talk about when we talked earlier about are they evaluating players the way they're supposed to?
Mhm.
That's part of the evaluation process. You got to go, your scouts, your general managers, your coaches, those executives, they got to go and do these interviews and ask a lot of questions to people around these people. They got to find out, is this guy in it for the money? Does he really love the game? Those things. I mean, when Trevor Lawrence was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, he was talking in the interview and he told them football isn't the most important thing in my life. There's things bigger than football, and it was a red flag. And now we're seeing the residue of football not being the number one thing in his life by his performance that he's had at quarterback. So I think when it comes to evaluating players, that's where the evaluation is key. I need to find out how much did this guy love football? How much did he want to be great? Is he willing to spend the extra time? Is he going to come in early, leave late? Is he going to study? Or do we got to put a stipulation in his contract that requires him to study 40 hours a week like they had to do for Kyler Murray? Like,
if I gotta do all that, like, I don't need you in my franchise.
I need to pass on you.
Yeah, like I'm not paying you, and then I got to do all that on top of developing you, and it's too much. Like you can just go someplace else. I wish you the best though.
Exactly. So sometimes, and I'm not saying I don't want to say Shedeur is the case, that same case, but when you go in and you flop on the interviews or you try to dictate where you go, sometimes that's a red flag to those evaluators that's saying, are we sure we want to bring him in? Is he about being great at football, or does he want the things that football can provide for him? You know, you talked about clickbait. Odell Beckham made the catch with the one hand in a loss. They lost that game to the Cowboys. But he made the catch. He went viral, and he was all world. But he didn't put the work in, and now he's begging to get back into the league. He's
always injured too, though. You can't trust him.
Right, you can't trust him. But
to be healthy, should I say?
Right, he's begging now to come and do the work and put in the work to be in it. Now he seems like he loves the game more now that it's gone than he did.
And sometimes it's like that, you know,
right?
Because the game keeps moving. Like the game doesn't need you; you need a game. Like they're gonna keep going no matter who's playing, who's not.
Right.
So you just kind of took it for granted, and now you're like, dang, like they moved on, you know, and I can't find a team. No, like, can I go somewhere? You know, so it's like that sometimes. You know, you gotta, and that's part of it. You know, there's something to be said for, like the love of the game and going through what you're going through, you know, to appreciate it more. If you have something given to you, I don't think you have the same appreciation for it as if somebody who had to like work dog hard for it. You know, like you hold on to it more. God saw beginning and knows end says CJ needs to remove the jewelry too. He regressed immensely from his rookie year. That H-Town lifestyle is beginning to impact his career. So, what H-Town lifestyle? Like, again, CJ is somebody else I do not see. I see him with Micah, like in the off season.
That's
a problem. On Micah's podcast, but in terms of like him being at the club, you know what I mean? Him out with girls and smoking, drinking. Like, I don't see that kind of stuff on him.
Well, you know, you don't gotta see that. They got places for that. You know, I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the life that Houston could provide for him. But I will say, last off season, I saw him hanging with Micah, and they were hanging a lot. Yeah, they was in different countries, and they sumo wrestling and all. And I'm like, CJ,
I saw that. Yeah,
you're a quarterback. Why are you hanging with Michael Parsons trying to sumo wrestle a 500-pound?
Because they could have worked out in the morning, and then again in the afternoon, and then again at night, and then sumo wrestle in between.
No, your workout and Michael Parsons' workout are totally different. I need
True.
you watching film as much. Tom Brady watching film from 8 years ago because they got to play a team that the head coach used to be the offensive coordinator, and I need to see what he did against me 8 years ago. Like
Yeah, I can see what kind of coach you're like. No, you went outside for 30 minutes. You went to get ice cream. No. You don't need ice cream. You need to go ahead and study your film. Like,
right. Well,
that's like,
a lot of it is about tricking the fans. It's about
Mhm.
tricking guys like me.
Mhm.
You can do a lot of things, just don't let me see it. Because I need to
Mhm.
be in the mindset. The fans want to believe that, man, I don't never seen he must be working hard. He
Mhm.
must, even when Mike Vick was in Atlanta, we love Mike Vick. When it came out that Mike Vick was fighting dogs on Tuesdays, that
Yeah, that was. I
deflated
remember that was
everybody.
crazy. Yeah.
Everybody was like, come on, Mike, we thought you were trying to get better. We thought
Mhm.
you was gonna be the guy that's gonna lead us to the promised land.
Mhm.
And then Matt Ryan came in and did that. So
So, so hold on. I'm asking God. God's still beginning those ends. So you think if CJ takes the jury off, that would mean he'll start playing better? Is that what you think? You think? I'm just curious. Drop
let
your
me
answer
say
in the
that.
chat.
Let me say this on the behalf of God's beginning and those end.
Mhm.
I've always been an advocate for players not wearing jewelry on the field in any sport.
Justin Jefferson does it, and we know
Yeah,
who
I
it
don't
is.
like it. I don't like Justin Jefferson when because you're a football player. You're supposed to be out here trying to win, not trying to appease. I don't know who you're trying to show out for by having the diamonds all on your neck. Then you dropped the ball the other week. I'm like, okay, every time you drop a ball, you should take a chain off. You know, like, come on, man. You're a professional. Again, part of this is about fooling me into believing that you really are dedicated to the game. And sometimes when we see jewelry on
You think you're
on
not
while you're
dedicated?
playing, it comes across as you're not dedicated, that you're here to show off, you're here to be some sort of rapper. You live in a different life than the life of a professional athlete. So I get it. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with it to the
Mhm.
point where this person might have a problem with it, but I understand where this person is coming from as a
Mhm.
fan. You know, fans want to believe that you are giving your everything for the game. And then when you leave the game, go put all your chains on.
See,
And we
for me,
fine with that.
I feel differently about that. Like, I don't see someone with a chain. I'm just like, oh man, you're not working on your game or whatever. Your thing is. I feel like that's also like a part of the culture. I feel like almost like every top wide receiver you see, running back, who got some coin, some of the highest paid. They got the Lamar, they got the grills in, they got the change. Like they like to be flashy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
like rappers. It may be an acquired taste to some,
yeah,
but I'm using JJ as an example because he's still like one of the top in the league. Like
yeah,
his
he
jewelry
is.
doesn't slow him down. You may
My
not like
problem,
him wearing it, but
yeah, my problem is in all the years that I've been watching sports, I've never seen somebody who wears a lot of jewelry win championship.
okay. Well, it's a
And
team sport, so
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. I understand that. And usually the guys that win championships are the guys that are not wearing the jewelry, are not trying to
wasn't Dion
draw
flashy
being
back in the day?
flashy. Yeah, Dion was flashy, but he wasn't wearing chains. He was wearing
Mhm.
chains in the video after the game, in the press conference after the game. But when he was on the field,
Mhm.
he wasn't wearing the chains.
Mhm.
And he's playing football. It's a physical sport.
It
I,
is.
I got to tackle. I got to run. I got to dive. I got to get dirty. I'm not trying to mess up my jewelry.
Mhm.
Now, as soon as I finish the game, I'm gonna go put on my jewelry, put my earrings on, put my watch on, and get
Mhm.
suited and booted, and I might go do a video. Might be the money. We love it. That's why we love Dion in Atlanta. Dion is, even though he left Atlanta after a few years, he played with the Braves and he played with the Falcons. This is anytime Dion comes to Atlanta, this is home. He's a folklore hero in Atlanta. He can't do no wrong here.
Mhm. I think sometimes like we now across the board, not just in NFL, but across the board, like I feel like we get so focused on the perception of what somebody seems to be or we think they are, and then
Right.
when you get a chance to meet them or see them outside, like you're like, oh wow, I didn't know this person
Oh
was
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I wish like we would like stop like looking at someone and automatically assume that this person does this or they don't do that. You know, like
Right.
that isn't. I mean, I get perception. You know what I mean? Because when whole different example, when I saw that Clay was dating Meg, I was like, wait, what? I was like, Clay, like you went to
That's
Meg?
a
You know what I
that's
mean?
a problem.
I was caught off guard because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I thought he would have a different kind of woman, but I don't know
Right.
Meg. With all due respect, I mean, behind closed doors, she could be quite wholesome. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
pretty sure she is quite wholesome.
I mean, her stage persona is different. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, she's cooking for him, they're working out together and
Yeah,
everything. You know, he
yeah.
seems happier. You know, I'm
Yeah, he's happy.
but
Yeah.
my point is that you know she has a degree, you know, from college. You know, she lost her mom, her grandmother, so she's you know she's
Right.
been through a lot. You know, so she's strong willed, and she seems to bring out a different side of him that we may not, that we don't know. We just only see her Meg the Stallion persona, but we don't know who like Megan actually really is.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But I mean, I get, you know, when you see somebody twerking or flashing their
Yeah,
jewelry
yeah.
or throwing the money out, you're like, look at this guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you never know like who people are. Is all I'm saying. Like I wish
You
we
never
stopped
know.
judging.
You never know, but this is how people are going. This is how fans will think about it and how they're going to judge Clay.
Mhm.
If his 3-point shooting percentage goes up, they're gonna say, "Man, Megan Stallion, she really changed his life. She
That's
ended up for
true.
the better." If
But
his
if it goes
shooting
down,
percentage
yeah,
goes down,
they're gonna
they
say
gonna be
Megan's
like,
bad for him.
"Man,
Yeah,
he ain't focused on basketball, man. He's too focused on that woman." You
yeah,
know,
that's
and
true.
that's how they. Same with Travis Kelce. Now they like, man, Taylor Swift, they messed up Travis Kelce. He don't want to catch the ball no more. He hurting his own teammates. Ever since he got with the Swifties, he ain't been the same.
he's getting older, really. I'm like, I
Right.
think
I
all the
mean, really,
time is
that's what
catching up.
exactly. Really, that's what's happening. But fans don't see it necessarily that way all the time. So
Yeah.
you know,
So moving along, oh man, this was this one was hard for me because I'm always like in Russ we
pause.
trust, but I understood that Brian Daboll is trying to keep his job because he's on
Yeah.
a hot seat. And I
Yes.
had, if y'all on my channel, I said a few days ago that the Giants are gonna win this game. One, because I'm like Jackson's a rookie. You don't really have a lot of film on him. You know, they tend to be a bit unpredictable. And on top of that, they're gonna rally around him. There's gonna be this new wave of excitement. This fans are gonna go crazy in the stadium. You know what I mean? And it's just gonna be a new wave of energy that's gonna
Yeah.
help bring this team to their first win. And my gut instinct was right. But with that being said, he's also a hot start. If you had to grade him, let's say A, B, or C, or D, what's your grade for Jackson Dart against the at the time undefeated Chargers?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got to grade the competition he was going against. I got to give him and I grade. I got a hard grade, but I'm gonna give him a B plus because he won the game. He made some key throws, definitely down the stretch that kept the chains moving. They didn't put too much on his plate. They kept it simple, and he was told that if you don't see it, your first read not there, take off and run. And that's what he did. He showed a lot of athleticism. When other teams don't really have,
And he wears jewelry too. Just saying. Continue.
yeah. When a lot of teams don't have a playbook on you, this their first time seeing you. They don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Exactly. You got the advantage. Yeah.
Right. So he had the advantage. So he was able to get away with some things. But he was resilient. He played well. They won the football game. The crowd in New York was amped
insane.
up. Insane, right? I'm pretty sure he sold a lot of jerseys.
I saw a lot of jerseys in the stands. I did.
Yeah, he sold a lot of jerseys this weekend, and the bars and stuff around Giant Stadium. I'm pretty sure they was packed, and them folk made a lot of money. So it was good for the New York economy. So anytime you have that type of situation going on, I gotta get him a B plus, maybe even an A minus. He played well. It was the right move for Brian Daboll to make.
Hold on, I just want to read this comment real quick from Gossip Begins No Ends. What is your name? I feel like I'm reading out your whole thing on Instagram on YouTube. If you don't mind, like what's your name or like your nickname if you don't want to put like your government in the chat. I didn't mean Justin Jefferson Katja. If you notice, I highlighted only the QBs, the leaders of the team are an extension of the coach. No, I didn't take it like personal, so it's all good. I just want to make sure I read that because I saw it. But back to Jackson Dart. if I'm giving him a grade, I mean, they won the game, like I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give him like a B
Yeah,
plus,
A B
because
is
they
fair.
won.
B plus is fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I was sad, for what happened with Russ, but I understand the decision. I mean, I gotta be honest. Like I understand the decision, especially
Right.
trying to keep your job.
Yes.
Um, but I think even when he was in college, my son watched college basketball, so therefore I have to watch it as well at times. I saw him in college. I love his energy. It's infectious. He seems very confident, but yet humble at the same time. Like the moment's not too big for him. So I knew that him being in New York market was a good place for him. Like New York is a tough place, tough crowd.
Yes, it
And he
is.
seems like he's definitely built to handle it. And he's been handling it pretty well. I love the team rallied around him, but you could see that in the preseason when he came in, in the games, when he did what he did. You could see them rallying around him. So I was like, okay, this locker room seems to love him. At some
Right.
point, this is going to be his franchise. You know what I mean? Russ obviously is just there, for a short time, not a long time. One thing that concerns me though is that I don't feel like Brian Daboll has his best interests at heart. I think his focus is on making sure that he keeps his job because I'm just like, and I can see why they have Russ starting, although it didn't work out the way they wanted it to. His natural instinct is to run. I knew that was going to be the case, which is why I bet on him to make a
Mm-hmm.
touchdown. And I hit it on my FanDuel yesterday. But I was like, I know he's going to
Oh,
scramble. I'm like, I
I
know he's
might
going
need
to
to hold
scramble and,
some.
and run because that's that,
Right.
that's like that's his natural instinct. But my concern is, I think they said he ran like he went 10 times for 55 yards and he was gassed on that on that field. I mean, he was bent over. So Russ came in for like that quick second, let him catch his
Right.
breath. He was exhausted. They were in the end zone, like there was first down, second down, third down, and he just knew it was going to be a touchdown, and it was not. He was like, really, like again, like he just looked like he needed to go take a nap as soon as the game was over. So I'm thinking to myself, is his right now he has natural raw talent, right? But is it
Mm-hmm.
sustainable? Is it sustainable long term? And I'm really hoping that's what Brian Daboll is going to work with him on because you
Right.
can't outrun every team. Like some teams, like you're gonna get knocked the hell down. You playing against the Browns,
Yeah.
Miles Garrett gonna knock you down. You're not gonna be running amok across the field.
Right.
So I'm like I really hope that he is doing what's best for him. While they're winning because Malik got hurt. Obviously, he's out for the season. And to me,
Yeah,
I
that's
blame that. I
terrible.
blame that on the play calling because I'm like too many times, even with Russ, he's like, "Oh, hands up," because he wants the ball. I get it. They have their egos, wide receivers. They know they want the all pros and they want the accolades. I get it. But I'm just
The
like you're
money.
forcing the ball to him every single time, and it's not necessary. You know what I mean? Like you do have other talent on that roster. Like if he's there and it's good, then go for it. But every single time. Malik, 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 Malik. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
for
that's
me, he
how it
was bound
goes.
to get hurt at some point. And unfortunately, he did get hurt. I saw Odell said it was he blamed it on the Giants, like the stadium turf. Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of
Do you
players
believe that?
supposedly got hurt on have got hurt on that turf,
Do you believe
and
that
so
to be true?
I mean, there's some credence behind it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of players have been advocating to get turf out of these stadiums. Now you have the money, the owners have the
Mm-hmm.
money to put natural grass in these stadiums. Even
Mm-hmm.
they have the money to get that really good turf that doesn't cause your cleats to get stuck
Mm-hmm.
into the turf. So
I mean, he
there's some
wasn't stuck. He was up. He
yeah,
was up in the
yeah,
air
but
when he came
that's
down.
my point. That's why I don't want to really blame the turf on this particular
Mm-hmm.
injury. Sometimes things just happen in football. If I can go around the league, I mean, we just saw the Jets tonight. Garrett Wilson is going to get the ball because he wants the freaking football.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson is going to get the ball because he wants the ball. We just saw Jamar Chase won a triple crown last year because it seemed like every time Joe Burrow took the snap, he threw it to Jamar Chase
Well, that's all
because
he
Jamar.
had.
Right. I mean, he got T. Higgins out there too.
Well,
They
he was
paid
also hurt for a part of the season.
right. He was hurt part of the season, but even when he was there, first thing we're gonna do is make sure that Jamar Chase get the ball. Okay, then we're gonna look and see what we got left for you, T. Higgins,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna get it to you. CD Lamb is getting the ball. This just how it go when you got those top guys like that. They want the ball and they're actually good enough to get targeted that many times. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times you can force it to them because it doesn't become a 50-50 ball. It's more like a 70-30 ball. and I got to get him an opportunity to make that play, or else he's gonna be grumpy. He's gonna be AJ Brown. AJ Brown is upset.
We'll get there in a second.
Right. But you get my whole point is when they don't get the ball, they sob and they cry, and it don't even matter if they're winning, because you don't get paid as a wide receiver for winning. You get paid by your numbers. How many catches did I have? How many yards did I have? And how many touchdowns did I have? When I add all this up, then I can go to that table and say I deserve this amount of money based on what my numbers say. So they're always gonna cry about the ball, and sometimes to keep the rapport in the locker room, the quarterback has to acquiesce and feed them a little bit.
To me, it's like, obviously we know like some people are just beyond talented, right? Like, so obviously like you want to get them touches, you want to get them the ball, you want to get them a chance to make these explosive plays, right? That's part of entertainment, when you watch, these games.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like this is still a team sport.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, I will try my best to make sure that you get yourself open. Like Jamar Chase said, he's 7'11", he always open, right?
He's always open.
If you always open and I can find a way to get you, then great. But it's a team sport, so it can't always be about you. It reminds me of like Josh and Stephon Diggs at one point, because everything got, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. And obviously he left the Bills, and now he's on his second team since then. You know what I mean? And it's an injury and everything else. So it's not, and the Bills are rolling even without him. So sometimes like, you gotta keep that in mind. Like I understand. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But I'm just like, sometimes you got to be a little more like selfless, because this is a team sport.
Yeah, but when you take a wide receiver high in the draft, like where the Giants took Malik Neighbors and where Justin Jefferson got picked, they're always open.
But Jay don't always get the ball though. You got Addison sometimes he gets the ball as well.
Right. But when I say they're always open, I mean
I know what you mean.
If it's 1-on-1, I'm open.
They're open.
You throw it to me. Now, if there's a safety over the top, or they're playing in the zone and the linebacker drops back and I'm in between two defenders, then now go to the other guy. But if it's 1-on-1, I'm open. Throw it to me. I'm gonna make the play. And they really believe in their ability like that. And that's one thing that helps them become great, because they do have the ultimate confidence. And on the play that Malik Neighbors got hurt on, it was 1-on-1. And when he came down, I was trying to make a play. He landed wrong, and it kind of
he definitely did. I was like, ooh.
It messed up his knee. So I mean, that's just the unfortunate part of playing football. Now, don't get me wrong. When we talk about the turf, maybe when he landed, because there's not too much give in the turf, it caused his knee to buckle the way that it did, as opposed to if he was playing on grass, maybe his foot would have slid a different kind of way. So that's why I say there is credence to it. I'm not a doctor. I don't know if that was the reason why he tore his ACL, but I do understand that when he came down, his knee kind of did something it wasn't meant to do.
It wasn't meant to do. Let me read this comment real quick. I'm gonna just call you. I'm gonna call you GD. All right, GD. Shedeur is actually a better fit for the Giants. He could fit there too, but if he was foolish enough to wear jewelry during his interview or meeting with the Giants, he opened the door for Jackson Dart. Honestly, what I heard about Shedeur as it pertains like specifically to the Giants was that he didn't really study. And Brian Daboll threw some questions at him that he did not know how to answer. And he had an attitude, when he was questioning, he didn't like, the way Brian Daboll, I guess, questioned him. I don't know how much of that is true, obviously, but that's what I heard as it pertains to them. I didn't hear anything about his jewelry. But like I said, me personally, I believe if an organization believes in you, you can come in there with big earrings, a big watch. Like, if they believe in you, they still gonna take you. They're not gonna let your jewelry, be the reason why they pass upon you. In my personal opinion, But when it comes to Shedeur, like I said, I get if he's not gonna be number one or number two, but to me, there was no way he should have went the 5th round. Like that to me, there's like other things going on with that. But what do you think about Shedeur and being a Giant?
I think the Giants was probably going to take Jackson Dart as the second quarterback in the draft. A lot of general managers and scouts, even leading up to the draft, they didn't think this was a good draft to take quarterback in. So
I heard that. Yeah, there was like
right,
very
so
high stock in quarterbacks
right,
here this year.
so they weren't really high on these quarterbacks. Do I think Shedeur should have went before the 5th round? Of course I do, because I believe that he's a, 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 a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. That's what I believe. That's what I want to believe. But at the same time, I do understand that he doesn't have what I would call undeniable talent. And when you don't have undeniable talent, you have to ace all the interviews. You have to
Do you
look the
think everybody else
role.
in the draft, in terms of QB, like had undeniable talent?
I think the first 2 quarterbacks that were taken had undeniable talent. I think Jackson Dart and and Cam Ward had undeniable talent. When it comes to arm talent and speed and those things of that nature, I think they had undeniable talent. Shedeur didn't necessarily have that. Shedeur had what I would call the intangibles that I like personally in the quarterback, which are football IQ, pedigree, heart, leadership ability. Those are the things I take more, put more credence in, but that's not how NFL coaches and general managers, that's not, they look at stature, speed, arm talent, and then they believe that they can coach all that other stuff in you.
Yeah,
And a lot of
hasn't
times
looked
that's
so
just
good
not,
the past few years though.
it ain't
But
look no
continue.
good. Since I've been watching football, it ain't look good. It don't work out. Every now and again, you get a special talent like a Peyton Manning, a Andrew Luck, a John Elway. These guys, they know he's going first. He got all the physical talent and he has the intangibles. Yeah, that guy's gonna succeed. But when you just take a guy strictly on what you call undeniable talent, it doesn't work out. Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, Tim Couch. I mean, I can go on and on and on. All the best at quarterbacks that didn't work out, and how a lot of these late round quarterbacks, the Joe Montanas, the Tom Brady's, the Brock Purdy's, the Russell Wilsons, these are the guys who end up rising to the top. But you didn't take him because he was too short. He don't run that fast. He's accurate, but he's not gonna throw it 75 yards down the field. Okay, well, you're missing out on a good quarterback.
And that's also a part of it too. You got something to prove. You're like, oh, they passed on me because I'm too short, or because they think my arm is not strong. So if you have that kind of mindset, you're going to get in there and work even harder to prove that they're wrong. You know what I mean? So that also helps, I think, those who go a little bit obviously further down in the draft. But with everything that's happened with Jackson Dart, do you think that they have found their franchise QB for the next 8 to 10 years? And do you think Brian Daboll has secured his job for at least one more season?
I don't know if Brian Daboll has secured a job. I think the rest of this season, how the rest of the season plays out, is going to determine that. And a lot of that is going to be based on how good Jackson Dart looks from week to week.
I agree.
I think Daboll does have Jackson Dart's best interest in mind, because they're, in football terms, they're married together. If Jackson Dart is no good, Daboll is going to be out. They're going to divorce him from Daboll, and they're going to marry him to another coach next year. So they need to have a good relationship going forward, or else Daboll won't have that job. Will Jackson Dart be the franchise quarterback? I think it's to be seen. I believe that he's made up of the right stuff. So if he can perform well this year, going into next year, and improve upon what he's done this season, then yeah, he's gonna be the franchise quarterback. They're gonna get him a contract. They're gonna extend him, and he's gonna be there for the foreseeable future. So if I had to place a bet right now, I would bet that Jackson Dart is gonna be the franchise quarterback for the Giants going forward.
I think he is going forward. I would say at least like the next 6 years, if just giving like my little estimate. And not so much because of him and Brian Daboll. Just looking at the way the fans responded, like they haven't been this excited for a QB in a while.
Right.
They were going crazy. I mean, the amount of Jackson Dart jerseys I saw in the crowd was crazy for his first start. They were excited. The team, like, I really feel like, I'm like, why didn't that same defense play as hard for Russ? because that defense gave the Cowboys how many points and all the way through overtime, and they
Yeah,
held the Chargers to 18. I'm
yeah.
like, they played harder for him than they did for us. Like they did.
There was a little bit of scheme change in the defense for what they allowed Abdul Carter to do. For the first time, Abdul Carter was popping off my screen, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, there he go. You know, he's a problem. He's a problem.
There he
But
is.
right, but this the first time I was like, okay, he's the problem. But when the Chargers lost Joe Out early in the game, who is the stud right tackle that they took in this year's draft in the first round, when they lost him, that kind of changed everything. The Chargers couldn't protect Herbert the way that they had been able to protect him in the past couple games. I mean, so then you start seeing Brian Burns come on one side. You saw Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence was even getting there. He got a pick. I mean, the defensive line looked a whole lot different when you get one of them big boys off the offensive line. So that kind of made the defense look a little bit better too. But they definitely rallied around the young guy.
I mean, you could tell they were excited
Right.
for him.
They-
They
yeah,
wanted
they-
him to succeed. Like I
Own
didn't feel the
game.
same. I didn't
Right.
feel the same thing with Russ. It's kind of like, oh, get him out of here. Like that's the vibe I got looking at them, looking at the crowd. Like I think I was the only one that
guys
was
play
cheering for
hard.
Russ.
I mean, guys don't want to be like, okay, Rusty, and we ain't gonna play hard. No, it don't work like that. Guys trying to get money. They're trying to put stats together and put good film together so they can ask for a raise at the end of the year. So guys ain't taking no plays off of games off because
Not
they don't
taking plays
necessarily
off, but
like
they
the
didn't play
quarterback.
as hard.
But
Like it wasn't the same energy that I like. Russ had like a 3-game
Nah.
sample. Like it
Right.
wasn't the same, like it wasn't, and I get,
But
they wanted something different. I mean, that was obvious, right? Like we could like not like pretend that they
Right.
didn't, but the body
Right.
language was very loud.
It looked good. I say it looked good. They look a lot more energetic playing in New York.
Thank you.
In the daytime.
Yeah.
The sun out, it was shining. I'm pretty sure it wasn't look like it was nice. Yeah, they
It was
was
nice.
out there.
It was nice weather here, yeah.
They were flashing all over the place. I'm talking about that defense. They was everywhere. So
They were. They definitely were.
I can't disagree with you. It's just hard for me to believe that they did this because Jackson Dart was in the game. No, they did it because I mean that might have something to do with it. It was new juice, new energy in at the quarterback. Let's go out, let's make sure that we give him everything we got. That type of mentality. And they gave him everything they got, and they got their first win of the season. So congratulations to the Giants. Now you gotta on to New Orleans, which should be now New Orleans, we might look at them as a bad team, but you got to go into New Orleans.
Yeah.
And they're not going to lay down for you. So don't, if the Giants going up thinking that, okay, we got an easy win because we finna go play New Orleans, then they're sadly mistaken. You got to go in there, you got to beat New Orleans. Because if not, you'll be New Orleans' first win.
One thing I forgot to say I like about Jackson is that he is very ballsy. Like, I mean, for them to ask that young man who his celebrity crush was and to say it was Justin Herbert's girlfriend and then like post it in his story and then proceed to beat him in the game.
That was disrespectful.
I'm like, dude, like you are definitely built for New York, okay? Because I'm like, the disrespect was real. He's like, I want your girl and I'm going to beat you in this game, in my first game. And you undefeated, but going back to what you said really quick before we move on, him and Dayball are married, but I do feel like this marriage is fast tracked because I know that my seat is very warm right now. Like it's warm. I can't get comfortable here. So I want you to succeed. I want you to succeed, but I got to move you just a little bit faster up on the timeline. Because I think they said that Brian Daboll spent like 10 some hours with him going over film, like leading to that game. I was like, that's a lot of dedication, which I appreciate. But you want to keep your job, and your job depends on his success. But at the same time, I'm just like, you have to move him along a little bit faster than you wanted to, which is why you had Russ there to begin with anyway. But now it's like, okay, I got to put him in the best position to win. And I think what's best for him right now, his natural raw instincts are to run. To run,
right?
You know what I mean, if all else fails, Jackson run.
Hold on. See, this is Brian Dayball's second marriage. his first marriage was with Daniel Jones. It didn't work out.
And Indiana, he looked a lot better in Indiana, even when they lost, but he still looked better.
So
and that wasn't even his fault. Yeah.
Right. So he on his second marriage. So he got to get to know Jackson Dart pretty quick. It's no different than if you get old, if you get married at a young age, and then all of a sudden at some point you get divorced and you meet somebody else. You ain't got 5 years, 10 years to get to know who this person is. You got to kind of get to know them quick. You got to kind of know them within the first 2-3 months. I need to know everything about you. So I'm asking you all these questions. We spending time together. I'm fast tracking it because I gotta see if I'm safe here or if I need to move on.
Pretty much.
Like that's how I deal with Brian Daboll and Jackson Dart. Now I need to see, like, because if this don't work out with you, then you gonna get married to somebody else, and I'm gonna be out on my own.
Yeah, pretty much you will be.
Right.
You will be. Hold on, going to some of these comments I saw really quickly. Okay, so you said, hold on. He said your name is Nasir. Am I saying that right?
Nasir,
or Nasser? Because my son had a teammate in school. His name was Nasser, spelled just like that. So I'm thinking it's
Nasir.
It might be
Nasser. That might be your son's teammate.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Oh, okay.
He better be in bed ready for school. So NSFXTX, I have not seen you here before. What's up? Welcome.
What's up, Enos?
So would you say Dylan is a better long-term answer over Shedeur? Me personally, I don't see franchise QB when I look at him. Even if Shedeur decided that he was going to go into acting or rap, when I look at Dylan, I don't see like starting QB, and I don't know why. I don't want to say it's because of his size. I don't want to underestimate someone, but just looking at him, like he doesn't give me. I don't get leader. I don't get superstar. I don't see thousands of fans in a stadium like with Dylan Gabriel jerseys. Like I don't get it, honestly. I think obviously his college, obviously, being at Oregon, that's a really good school, right? Great coach, obviously a lot of great talent, and I think obviously so that kind of gave him an edge up on Shedeur, if I'm being honest, in terms of the competition that he faced and things of that nature. But I don't think that he's better than Shedeur, and I don't see him as a starting QB. I don't. I think he can be a good QB, but I don't see him as like a superstar a franchise QB. What you think, though?
Did you say something about you don't know if Shedeur wanted to be an actor or a rapper? What
I said even if he did, like even if Shedeur wasn't there, I still don't see Dylan as like like the superstar QB. Yeah,
that's a tough question.
Franchise QB.
I think Shedeur is gonna be a great starting quarterback in this league. That's what I'm hopeful in a way. I'm biased. I like Deion. So for me, this ain't even more about Shedeur. It's about his dad was one of the best football players that I've ever seen, and he's from Atlanta. And in Atlanta, Deion is everything. So we ride with Deion. We really fool with Deion, and Shedeur is Deion's son. So we're gonna root for Shedeur because of Deion. Now, with that being said, I just don't know. I think Dylan Gabriel is a hardworking quarterback. I think he has a competitive spirit that you would want out of a quarterback. He went to Oregon for a reason because he was really good in high school. And so that's why he was able to go to Oregon. Oregon don't just go pick bombs off the street and be like, you can be the quarterback. He's I'm pretty sure his size, he's always had to fight and compete to be the starting quarterback. So I think Dylan Gabriel is made of the right stuff. Will he be a franchise quarterback? I don't know. I know this. Joe Flacco ain't the answer. So as soon as I get to see different Gabriel, then I can be the judge of that based on the 1, 2, or 3 games that he's gonna play, and then I can come back and tell you he has it or he ain't it. It's time to put Shedeur in. But I can't get to Shedeur until I get to Dylan Gabriel. And that's
tomato.
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 What you mean? What you mean tomato?
Right? Like we like look. We know we look. I already said what I had to say about that. I'll leave it alone. Hold on. Read another comment from Nasir. The jury doesn't work for Shedeur because he's already perceived as a rich, coddled kid. If a GMC six-figure chain worn on his neck, they're going to question his hunger to be great and lead. I, I think that's. I don't think it's because. I do agree with you in terms of perception. We were just talking about this earlier in the chat.
Right.
Like you have to get to know somebody as best you can through the interviews and them coming to the building and meeting everybody, the staff and dinners and things of that nature. But to me, I would hope that any team, not just with Shedeur, I would hope that when you're drafting a QB, you don't look at them wearing a chain and say, "Oh, okay, this kid is not humble. He's just a rich this. He's just rich that." Like, talk to the person, get to know them, and then make your assessment whether or not this is good for your franchise. This is someone that you want to work with, but don't let it be because they wear baggy pants or because they wear, I don't know, a fitted cap or something. You know what I mean? Like, look at a person for who they are. Maybe that's just Katja and who I am. Like I look at a person, not like what they're just wearing before like I make an assumption.
Right. But let's be honest. We know in America how this works.
Mm-hmm.
When you go on a job interview or something like that, definitely in corporate America, they want you to be dressed a certain way.
Well, yeah,
You have to
corporate
present
is different than NFL. I get what you're saying.
NFL is $1 billion industry, and these people that are doing these interviews are billionaires or multi-millionaire owners who are most of the time presidents of operation who most of the time are white guys. One of the problems that we have and that Shedeur is having is that we don't have enough representation at the top. So we don't have a person like yourself or like myself who will be at the top, who when Shedeur comes in, we understand him. We understand the culture. We understand where he comes from. So we know how to have a conversation with him to discern what he's about as a person. They don't have that same ability because they're just wired a different kind of way. And a lot of times these are old white guys. So they would get threatened or thrown off by a young kid coming in. He has jewelry on. He might have somebody behind him with a boom box on. He coming in with swag. He already in the Maybach, and they like, is he really hungry? Is he gonna be the guy that's gonna be ready to sacrifice it all to lead my franchise to where I gotta go? So I see what Nasir means. It's just the unfortunate part about it is a lot of these franchises don't have nobody at the top of the food chain that looks like Shedeur that can understand him better than they can and can go back and say, nah, this guy is the real deal. I know he got the chains on and all this swag that he got. These folks don't even know what swag is. So it's gonna be hard. So when he go into these interviews and he go and meet these people, these owners, he does got to go in a certain kind of way. He does have to go in clean cut with the professional suit on or whatever he needs to go in. And he does need to talk a certain kind of way when they're asking him questions. How a lot of black people do it. They put on their white voice when we go into the job interview or we go around these folks. And that's what you got to do. It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of the situation.
I'm not saying that, he should go on with a wife beater and like with his, with his boxers hanging out, like big old headphones or whatever, like on top of his ear. But honestly, some parts of this is why I say I think some things are missing from this story. I find it really hard to believe that Deion Sanders wouldn't talk to his son about how he needs to present himself in the interview and what they look for. I mean, having been in the NFL, being who he is, still around it, like, and looking at how the same way though, looking at how you ever like see any of the videos that he posts when he's talking to the bus, right? Like, I want you to make sure that you sit in the front row of your classes. If I see you, on Zoom, you better not be in your pajamas. Make sure you got a suit and tie on and things of that nature. I cannot see him saying, not prepping Shedeur, and at least in terms of what to wear. if nothing else, like
Right.
when you go into an interview. That's what I'm saying. Some things just don't seem in alignment to me. Like he may not have studied the playbook, he may have not answered the
Right.
question right. I can get that. But for him to not to come in dressed properly or to not, answer questions as best as he could, or kind of use slang or whatever it is. Like I can't see that. I don't
Well,
see that.
I agree with you. I don't think he necessarily didn't go in with his, his professional gear on and things like that. Based on some of the reports I heard and even some of the stuff I heard him say,
What's
definitely,
up, Mel? Go ahead.
definitely when he decided not to go to the combine,
Mm-hmm.
but he just interviewed. A lot of it was him telling people, and this is true. I even heard some of this myself.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get me because I'm finna come in and change your franchise. If you don't want me, then there's something wrong with you because I'm a franchise changer. I'm the guy you draft if you want it. So he kind of popping
I
off.
heard something like that
Right,
about
he
him,
kind
like,
of popping
yeah.
off a little bit, and that will, like I said, me and you ain't in that room. Well, we like, yeah, man, I like his bravado. He
Mhm.
I know, yeah, we gotta take this guy. He talking big game. They go get him. They looking at it like, oh, so he thinks this league is that easy. Oh, he just thinks that, oh,
Mhm.
he can just, and there's some spite. So they say, you know what? Well, we can get somebody else. We can get somebody else who's gonna play the game a little bit better than him because he don't really want to play the game.
But what
And
about Cam Ward? Because
Cam Ward
Cam
played the
Ward, I
game well.
remember, didn't Cam Ward? I mean, he didn't say that specifically, but I
Yeah, he
remember
played the
hearing him
game
say
well.
like, if you pass on me, you're gonna regret it. And when I see you, like on the field or something like that, he was saying.
Right.
In other words, you know what I mean? If you pass up on me and you're gonna regret it. You know what I mean? Like it's along the same lines of saying, draft me if you want someone's gonna change your franchise. It's like they're both better on themselves, they both believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Now I don't know everything that Shedeur said, obviously, inside the interview room. But to me, what he said and what Cam Ward said, Ashton Genty as well said something similar. You know what I mean? Like it's all they're all like all very similar.
Quarterback is different from every other position.
Yeah, but that's why I said Cam Ward first. But they're so focused on Shedeur. Like he was the only one to ever have this kind of confidence or swag. Like he's not.
Right, he Deion's son. But,
so then that's what it's about more. It's about him being Deion's son than what he actually said.
They had clips of prior to the draft, Shedeur and Cam Ward working out together, actually.
Yeah, they had the same coach, same QB coach.
Right. They were doing a lot of working out. And then some of these workouts, there's audio and Shedeur and him are going back and forth. They talking trash to each other. I'm gonna be number one pick, I'm gonna be number one pick. And Shedeur like, yeah, and we can do X, Y, and Z. And Cam Ward's like, nah, I can't do X, Y, Z. I'm just a quarterback. All I want to do is play football. But they're like, yeah, but you can do other stuff too. He was like, I can't do other stuff. All I want to do is play quarterback. All I want to do is play football. All my dedication is football. If I heard that, I'm pretty sure all them owners and GMs and coaches, they heard that same thing. And they were like, that's the one we want. We want the one who don't want to do nothing else but play football. And that worked into Cam Ward's favor. So,
I think a lot of it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say for the most part, even as the number one pick and getting a start and somehow Cam Ward has found a way to stay under the radar a lot more than the guy who's a third string quarterback. I just don't understand how he able to pull this off.
He's not the only one. He's not the only one. We haven't heard from Quinn Ewers. We haven't heard from, I forgot, Jalen.
But these guys ain't first round draft picks.
No, neither Shedeur. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I forgot about Jalen too. But I mean, I think it's also because of who he is. You know what I mean? It's also a part of it, So they want to talk to him. They want to talk to Bronny. And, even though that they're not high up on the food chain, so to speak, they weren't drafted. But also, I think personality. Because I heard even before Shedeur, got third string QB, I still heard more about Jackson Dart than I did about Cam Ward. Like he's
in New York. New York is different than Tennessee.
I mean, yeah, but even like on the shows and stuff, but then I look at Jackson Dart's personality, and although he's white and Shedeur is black, like he has a very outgoing, like strong, showman, show me kind of personality. It's a little bit similar to Shedeur. For me, Cam is more like the background. in terms of
Right.
his personality and, and how he carries himself. And that combined with him being in a smaller market, I think, is why nobody's really talking about him.
Correct. I agree. I agree.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland is the biggest market, but once again, when you're the son of prime time, one of the best football players to ever play, you're gonna get a certain amount of attention to you. Just like Archie Manning is getting a certain amount of attention to him, not because of his play, but mostly
Last
because
name.
of who he's related to. And that's just at the end of the day, the media are entertainers.
Yeah, and we know. Let's not go back to that. Hold on. And it said, did y'all see the things Rex Ryan said about Shedeur? Anybody to it? Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I played
Right.
the sound bite and everything. Like I said, long story short, I think Rex had a point. Like, put him in. Like put him in. Let's see what he got.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
at
you
some
just
point
say
you got
put
to
him
back it up.
in. Yeah, but that's the
No,
thing.
don't just like throw him in. But I mean, if
Right.
like if you're gonna keep talking a big game, you got to back it up. I
Right.
do agree with that. So put him
Yeah.
in, put Dylan
When
in, and whatever happens,
when
happens.
when Shadeur's number is called, he better ball. Because if he don't ball, boy, they gonna kill him if he don't ball. So I would say to Shedeur, stay in your playbook, soak in all the knowledge and information you can, allow them to develop you as much as they're able to, put the work in, because when your number is called, you're gonna have to put on the show. And if you don't put on the show, they're gonna run you out the league.
I mean, well, me and you went back about this last week. You know what I mean? Like, look, all this time he's been doing absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? Maybe working out on his own with his own personal coach, but in terms of getting reps and things like that, we know he's third string. He's not getting them. So he could be studying his behind off in terms of the playbook. But I've heard plenty of players say the only way to get in like game shape is to actually play in the game. So this is what I'm thinking. Like he could study his playbook, work out on his own, but you can't mimic actually being on the actual reps of being in an actual NFL game. You know what I mean? So I'm not going, even if his name is called next week, crazier things have happened. I'm not going to expect him to come in there and throw for like 4 touchdowns and look like this
No, it don't work
amazing
like that.
QB. I'm just like, like, come on, like I'm not going to expect that. I think it's, even if it was Dylan, I'm still giving him the same grace. Like you've been sitting around all this time. Like you haven't
Right.
actually had any reps. So I got to keep that in mind when I'm looking at how you play.
They're gonna treat him like how Jackson Dart got treated.
Mhm.
This your first game. We're gonna shorten. We're gonna condense the playbook. We're gonna give you the
Mhm.
5 to 10 plays that you're comfortable with. Make your first read. If you don't like your first read, either throw the ball away or get up out of there.
I can
But
go with that. Okay.
we're gonna simplify it for you in this first game, and then we're gonna add a little bit more next week, and a little bit more next week, and a little bit more next week. By the next year and a half, you should have the whole playbook down. We should be able to open up a lot more things to you and open up the offense more. But if let's say Shedeur just got in this week, for whatever reason, he got in. Well, not let's say this week. Let's say he knows he's gonna play, so he gets this week to work with the first
So he
team.
gets
He
some
get
kind
the
of reps
reps.
or something. Okay.
No, but what you do is you still go into the week. You say these. What plays are you comfortable with? You like these? You feel comfortable with these? Okay, these are the 10 plays that we're gonna go with. Make your first read. We're gonna make some runs. We're gonna run the ball a lot to keep it balanced. If you don't like your first read, get up out of there, throw it away. Don't hold on to the ball too long. Blase, blase, and you give him the best chance to succeed early because the defense is really good. So it ain't like he got to go out there and be a superhero and win the game. And then the next week you add another 2 or 3 plays in, and the next week you add another 2 or 3 plays in. So at some point you got 30 plays that he can run. So that's how you do it. You don't throw the whole shebang in his lap the first week that he get out there, because then you set him up to fail.
We touched on this earlier. I want to touch on this briefly. Eagles are undefeated, but AJ Brown is he's not happy about it. So I don't know if y'all saw what he posted. I have it right here. You know what I mean? Like if you're not listening to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and just be on your way. Now they're like, oh, it's a Bible verse. Like there's nothing to it. I'm like, cut it out. Okay. He was reading the book last time on the sideline. Now he's picking up these kind of look. I mean, it's obvious that there's he's not happy. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting he's not happy. And a lot of people are kind of divided because they're like, well, look, you got paid. You're winning. You just got a Super Bowl. Like, stop complaining.
Right.
Where are you at with this whole AJ Brown being unhappy in
Look,
terms of the
man.
amount of touches he's getting and whatnot?
I like how AJ Brown gets unhappy.
Mhm.
Because when he's unhappy, he reads a book, an inspirational passage from a book, or he drops some sort of motivational words
Mm-hmm.
of wisdom on X. Anytime we have our young brothers reading books and being inspired and dropping words of wisdom, I just got to take a win. It's a win. We need more of it. And I
Mhm.
appreciate AJ Brown. Now, with that being said, this is what we talk about with these, for lack of a better word, diva wide receivers. The
Mhm.
wide receivers that believe in their ability so much, they believe that they need the ball because they believe if you throw me the ball, we have a better chance of winning. Now, in this case, the Eagles are 4-0. They are winning. We paid you your money. You should just be happy with doing whatever we need you to do to win. I mean, Devontae Smith only got 2 targets this week. AJ Brown got 8 targets. He only made 2 catches out of the 8 targets, but he got 8 targets. Well, we tried to get you the ball. It just didn't work out. Defense played well. They defended you well. Devontae Smith ain't over here crying. He only got 2 targets the whole game. The week before that, you made 11 catches. Big yards in the end zone. It's supposed to be about winning. I'm not concerned about AJ Brown trying to get out of there, requesting a trade, because if he did something like that, it would look bad on his character.
Mhm.
You're talking about a team that just came off a Super Bowl. You got a black quarterback who's performing well, and he needs you. And we paid you your money, and we're not losing games. Now, if they were 1-3, I'd be like, man, y'all need. I'll be winning. Man, get AJ Brown the ball.
Mhm.
But you're 4-0, AJ. Chill, bro. We winning. The team cannot have long-term major success without you. I can assure you that. Jalen Hurts is going to need you. The way the game is played is week to week. The defense and the defensive coordinators are going to look for something that they can take away from the Eagles. When they take that thing away, that allows something else to beat them.
Mhm.
Last week, they decided we're going to take Saquon away, Devontae Smith, and AJ Brown. They the ones that helped the
Mhm.
Eagles come back against the Rams. This week, team said, man, when they got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown rolling, man, they can really put a whipping on folks. You saw what they did
Mhm.
to Kansas City. They tried to take Saquon away. They blow Kansas City out. So coordinators are like, man, well, we need to shut down those receivers. And then we got to live with whatever Saquon do to us.
Mhm.
And so that was the game plan, to take away the receivers and allow Saquon to go to work. And Jalen Hurts and Saquon did what they had to do. We win the game. At the end of the day, every week, these coordinators got to pick their poison. You can't take everything away. Choose what
Mhm.
you're going to take
True.
away, and whatever you don't take away is going to kill you. That's just how it goes.
So for me, I'm not buying that this is just him posting some Bible verse. I didn't buy him just happen to just be reading the book casually in the middle of a game, all kinds of cameras around. Like, obviously he's unhappy. Now, people can say what they want to say, but his success depends on obviously the quarterback getting the ball to him.
Right.
He's at a point now in his career where it's like, okay, I got the money. He's getting married, you know what I mean? He got his ring. I think now he's thinking more so legacy. Like, am I on the way to Hall of Fame with where I am right now? And I
Right.
could be wrong. Maybe he's not thinking about that. It's just what I'm assuming based on like the body language and
Yeah,
things
I
that he's
mean,
been
that's
posting.
reasonable.
So I'm just like, if I'm thinking legacy, Hall of Fame, no, I want some more All Pros and things of that nature. We are winning, yes, but it's not helping me for my overall long term goals. So for me, I think he'll have to make a decision on if he wants to stay there where he knows that they can be successful because they have so many different ways of winning, and he can stay there and continue to win and not get the amount of, touches, and things of that nature that, he feels he should be getting. Or at some point, I think maybe in the season, he's gonna make a decision. It'll be to stay, or I think it'll be a trade request, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a trade. Like he was reading that book last year on the sideline. They won a Super Bowl. Everybody was all teasing.
Yeah, they hadn't
on
won
the
that yet,
sideline.
but they won that now.
Right.
So I
Right.
already got
So-
that. That's already crossed off my
Okay.
list.
But one of the easiest ways to get to the Hall of Fame is to perform well in the playoff and win championships. You go back and you look at the numbers of guys like Lance Swan. Lance Swan is a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Go look at his numbers. They're not great, but what he did in the playoffs and helping Pittsburgh win them 4 Super Bowls, that put him in the Hall of Fame.
So, you said 4, right?
Yeah. You got to win. I mean, AJ Brown, but he went to 2 and they won 1, and they got another opportunity to win 1 this year. That'll be 2 Super Bowls in the modern era. This is a different era than when Pittsburgh was winning in the 70s and the 80s. Like you had more dynasties back then. Now it's hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls. It's hard to win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. It's hard to do those things. So if you can pull that off, man, that raises your stock. And that's going to continue to put money in your pocket because other teams are going to know, or hell, the Eagles going to know, this guy's a difference maker. This guy's helping us win championships. Now, if you keep complaining too long, what happens is at some point, your talent is not going to match your attitude. And that's the easiest way to get out the league quicker than you want to. I seen it happen with T.O. T.O. could have still played another 3-4 years, no doubt in my mind. But the perception was that T.O. had become a nuisance in the locker room. And teams just didn't want to deal with him anymore because he might have lost a half a step. But he still was T.O. He still was better than most wide receivers in the league.
I mean, look, I said, I think, it really depends on what you want for your career. If you're the kind of person that's like, hey, I'm going to stay here because we got a winning formula, and I can win up to 3, 4 rings here, dare I say, we could be a dynasty, and I can get my Hall of Fame, jacket that way, okay. But he seems like he wants to be involved.
Okay,
He doesn't give me the kind of guy who just wants to stay on the sideline, and win that way. I could be wrong. That's just the vibe I'm getting.
You can pull Tyree Hill. Go ahead. My fault.
No, but say also, I think about a few years ago, right? That year they went to Super Bowl. The first time they went, him and Jalen Hurts and so on and so forth, and they didn't win. Although Jalen Hurts to me was the best player by far in that game.
Yeah, he balled.
And then the next year, you could tell there was something going on in the locker room, right? Like they were winning. They went 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, but you kept saying, okay, something's not right. Like something's happening behind the scenes. It wasn't the talent that was on the field. It was something going on within the locker room. And ultimately, they ended up catching up with them. And after they went 10-0, just like nosedive. Like I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen again because they really have a chance to run it back or at least get close enough to run it back, if you ask me. So I hope that whatever's going on with him, they can figure out a way to work it out because you're doing it also in front of the camera. So now people are asking questions. Now we're talking about it, on ESPN and CBS Sports and everything else. So you know what you're doing because they covered the book last time. The freaking author, it was a bestseller. You know what I mean? Like you put the book out there, homeboy. He had friends and family calling him like, "We saw your book." You know what I mean? It was a great day for him. So now, just like, look, you know the kind of backlash that was going to come with you posting that kind of tweet, especially with your poor body language on the side of the freaking field. So I'm just hoping that they can find a way to work it out, or he needs to make a decision for himself and stay and be happy, or pretend to be happy, or leave.
That's wide receiver language. Some wide receivers, they're passive aggressive.
Yeah,
he's being passive aggressive. He's like, okay, I want to go yell at Jalen Hurts and tell him to throw me the down ball like Keyshawn Johnson would do, or like a T.O. would do, but I'm not gonna do that. The way I'm gonna tell Jalen Hurts I want the ball is I'm gonna start reading this book on the sideline with these highlighted packages. Or I'm gonna put a spiritual word on X that says that if you don't want me, then let me go ahead and leave and do it. And it's gonna get out. The word gonna get out. And next week, Jalen Hurts is gonna throw me 10 balls.
The next 2 games he'll go down.
That's just how it goes. Right. But let's just say he's really is just grown up. You can go. You can be like a Tyreek Hill. Go somewhere. You're gonna find out that the grass is not greener on the other side. You can go
Yeah,
somewhere.
you gotta be careful. Yeah.
They're gonna throw you 15 balls a game. Y'all gonna be the laughing stock of the league, not winning. You're not in playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
And the playoffs is where you really make your legacy.
Yeah.
People
I get
remember
that.
playoff games. Do you want to be in the playoff game? Do you want to play in the Super Bowl where you get to really get your ink? Or do you just want to have regular season success where you catch 90 balls, 95 balls, and then nobody hears about you because you sitting at home when everybody else is playing for big stakes? It's up to you.
Yeah,
But
that
he's
is.
a young man, so
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be good. I think he's just that's the language he speaks. Instead of yelling at Jalen Hurts,
Mm-hmm.
his therapist said, "Find other ways to communicate." And these are his other ways, right? These are his other ways of communicating. And Jalen Hurts, I'm pretty sure he gets the message. But when it
Yeah, we
comes
all
first,
do.
when
We
it
all get the
comes
message.
first, I'm gonna win first
Yeah.
and make sure you get the correct amount of passes. That's secondary.
I think because they were saying that Puka Nakua, I think, had 13 like targets, like receptions yesterday
Yeah.
on
Yeah, like
Sunday, and then I think they said he has 13 pretty much for the whole season. Well, up to this point,
yeah.
which is crazy.
It's not Matthew Stafford. That's his guy. He's gonna hit Puka Nakua more times than that. Not if he got
And that's what
anything
AJ
left,
is saying.
he'll
I'm
hit
your
Devontae
guy.
Adams. Yeah, but they're not 4-0.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. But okay, y'all. Last topic before we get up out of here. All right, so we had the craziest game that really should have been a Monday night game. It would have been a lot more fun to watch. Okay,
Please, I'm glad it wasn't Monday night, but it would have been better.
they need to bury the Dolphins at like 1 o'clock or something. When nobody put them on at 9:30 in the morning when nobody can wait.
Right.
This game was going back and forth. I mean, all week long, so much was hyped up about the Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers, the return of Micah, Jerry Jones, all these different things. And I did not expect what I saw from this Green Bay Packers defense at all. I mean, they were in Super Bowl contention 2 weeks ago. And the way they looked yesterday, I was like, Super Bowl? No. Something's missing from this Green Bay Packers team. But I'll just go back to the game for a second. It ended in a tie, 40-40, which is wild. I'm like, we can't have ties. Like, somebody got to win the game. Okay? Like, somebody needs to win this game. All that hard work to end the tie. But looking at Dak, I have to give Dak his credit. Right now, Dak looks like he should be in an MVP conversation.
No, he shouldn't be in the MVP
He
conversation.
looks like it to me. Hold on. I'm like, I'm looking at how he's performing. Obviously, defense is what the defense is, but he's not turning the ball over. He's taking care of the ball.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he's in better shape. He's very focused. And Dak has always been a good regular season QB. Maybe that's never been an issue for him. It's always been more so like in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But right now he's getting paid $60 million, highest paid QB.
Yeah.
So get out there and perform. And right now he's doing just that. So I like what I'm seeing from Dak personally. From this offense, looks really, really good. The defense to me, obviously, is no, we don't like that. But in terms of this big return, Micah Parsons back in Dallas, what did you think about Micah Parsons and how he looked as a Green Bay Packer back in Dallas Nation?
For the most part, Michael Parsons was quiet the whole game. I was looking for him like, is the man playing? Is he gonna put some pressure on him? I mean, he got the one play, which was a big play toward the end that kind of
that would have been a
saved
touchdown,
the game. Yeah. So he got the sack, but I'm looking at the numbers: 1 solo tackles, 2 tackle assists, 1 sack. I mean, it's pretty pedestrian. These are not the numbers I would expect. I mean, I'm looking at the defense of the Green Bay Packers. Your defense gave up 436 total yards.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott completed 75% of his passes for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no turnovers, and got Katja over here talking about he should be in the MVP conversation. This is what your defense.
Even without this game, I like what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, but he's 1-2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow put up gargantuan numbers just last season, but he's not going to be the MVP because of the team success.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I would put Dak in that situation now. If the Cowboys can put 3 or 4 wins together in a row and get that record to 5-2-1, and Dak continues to perform the way he's been performing, I'll put him right at the top of the list and say, man, Dak is balling out. He's playing better than I've ever seen him play. But right now I can't do that. But just Michael Parsons, staying on Michael Parsons. He gave up 319 passing yards, 117 rushing yards. You gave up 6.5 yards per play. These folks got 26 first downs on you. I mean, you only got one. Y'all had 1 sack the whole game. I can't. That's the only turnover you got the whole game. I mean, come on, Michael Parsons. You're supposed to be a difference maker. When they brought you in there, they were talking Super Bowl or bust. You made Jerry Jones look like he's on something. You know what? Maybe Jerry Jones did the right thing by saving a little bit of bread, getting these draft picks to come in and make the team better on the defensive side of the ball going forward. Because clearly, Michael Parsons is not that big of a difference maker that he's gonna change a whole defense by himself. And that's what I saw last night. I wasn't impressed.
I don't think any one person can change a whole defense. I mean, the defense was already good before he got there, right? So it wasn't like he came into this awful defense and he's like this huge difference maker. To me, he's like the icing on the cake for that already good defense. They were good last year, you know what I mean? But also going back and just looking at some of the plays again, like Michael was double team, triple team. Like they had a very, very good, clear plan to make sure they slowed Micah down. I mean, he was just there all these years, you know, right? So they drafted him, like they know what he likes to do, you know, his weaknesses, his strengths. So I didn't expect him to have this explosive, crazy 20-sack game like everybody else did. I know that everybody was expecting him to have that, but I'm just like, they know Micah very well. They're not going to just let him off the leash, so to speak, just run amok and just knock Dak down every single time. And then he also left sometime during the game because I think his back was bothering him. I saw him go into the tent for a little bit, you know, before he came back out. So that I got to include that part as well. But I want to play this really quickly. I'm going to ask you what you think. It's Jerry Jones, of course. You know, he always got to talk to the media. He just never knows.
He loves it.
Just be quiet sometimes, you know. But here we go.
You said it before, but this is why you pay the quarterback over the pass rush. I mean, you talked about you have to make a choice there, so you got to get the money. This is why you have no aggressive paying the quarterback over the pass rush.
It's very simple.
Right.
Dak was indispensable in my mind.
Right.
And so, yes. And Michael was.
How valued you?
So, I mean, it's just numbers. It's that easy. And that's not personal at all. It's just that without Dak and without that experience he's got and without the leadership and all of those kinds of things, last year I decided that we need to make him the highest paid, I think, offensive coordinator. I believe that held him for a little while there. But the numbers weren't there with Michael.
So honestly, for me, Jerry is so full of it and so full of himself. Like, I just need him some time to just shut up. Like, I know he's trying to save face for the camera, but let's not forget, okay? Like, you could have let Micah go a long time ago if it was only about you feeling like Micah was not worth being paid or being made the highest non-paid QB, because according to Jerry, he offered him that a good amount of money to be the highest non-paid QB. But every time I heard Jerry talk about Micah, it was never about Micah asking for more money. It wasn't about Micah having this list of outlandish demands. He, for whatever reason, did not want to talk to Micah's agent. And every time I heard him talk about it, it's like me and Micah agreed that the agent doesn't need to be involved. You know, it's me and him, and then that's it. You know, that the agent is the least important person, I believe is what he said in one of those interviews with Michael Irvin or Stephen A. when it comes to negotiations. And I think I stand 10 toes on that. I really feel like when it comes to Micah with Jerry Jones, because they seem to have had more of a personal relationship than, kind of went past the professional side, I really feel like some part of his feelings was hurt and his ego was bruised. And that's why he let him go. Because you're not going to tell, you kept telling us that Micah's this, Micah's that. You want him to be the highest non-paid QB. And like, oh, Micah, it wasn't there for Micah. We decided to just let him go. I'm like, Jerry, stop it. Like, that's not why you let him go. We can keep playing that game if you want us to play that game. What do you think?
Right. Well, you really spot on. Jerry is changing his tune just a tad to make Jerry wants to listen to Jerry talk, and so he's always been that way. That's why he's always in the limelight, always want to be like, how many NFL owners do you hear talk before the game, during the game, after the game?
During.
Right. It's just Jerry, But one thing the Cowboys did do, and it's on film now, they showed everybody in the league how you deal with Michael Parsons if you got the personnel to do it.
Yeah.
They show everybody in the league this is how you can neutralize him and make him pretty much take him away from the game. So that film is out there now, and it's up to Michael Parsons to get better, and the defensive coordinators for Green Bay to find out ways and places to place Micah to make him effective. Because, like I said, that film is out there right now. Going to Jerry, I hear what you're saying, Jerry. Yes, Dak Prescott, and we just talked about the numbers he's putting up. He's the quarterback. The quarterback position is way more important than the position that Michael Parsons paid. Of course, you had to pay Dak, but you reluctantly paid Dak. You didn't want to pay Dak. It ain't like you were like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna pay Dak all this money, and if I got something left over, I pay Michael. No, you didn't even want to pay Dak. You didn't want to pay CD. You waited too long, and then they ended up costing you. That's what happened. You let Dak get all the way to free agency before now you gotta pay him the more money in NFL history. If you would have paid him a year or two early, you would have got a discount. So don't make it like all of a sudden, yeah, this is the decision you made. No, Dak forced your hand, and you had to pay him because you couldn't. Franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees.
That's
and
true.
You couldn't afford to not pay Dak and go out there and try to find a quarterback in the draft. Now, you didn't know Dak was going to get hurt the first year under his contract, and you could have actually went into the draft and got you a young guy. If you really wanted Shedeur, you could have went and got Shedeur the offseason. Had you known Dak was going to get hurt, but you didn't know Dak was going to get hurt. So you had to pay Dak. And when it comes to Michael Parsons, you did offer him the money to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. The problem is, the business of the NFL better than Michael Parsons did, but not better than his agent did. Because his agent got him the money that would make him the highest paid non-quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years. And that's what you want to offer him that. You offer him just for this year, and he was going to get leapfrogged the next year. Now it's going to take another defensive player or any position player. It's going to take them at least 3 to 4 years to eclipse what Michael Parsons got. And that's what his agent was able to do for him. Now, Michael Parsons might have been better off staying in Dallas because the perks of playing with the Cowboys are just better than the perks of playing with the Green Bay Packers. Then the state taxes in Texas are different. You don't pay state taxes. And then Jerry Jones could have made it where you got $100 million for your podcast. You're not going to get $100 million for your podcast in Green Bay. The endorsement opportunities and what Dallas Cowboys player can get offered after you finish playing the game. Do you want to go do you want to go in the booth and call football games? Do you want a TV show? That's what Jerry Jones does for his players after they stop playing. So you stand to make more financial gain if you stay a Cowboy in the long run than you do if you just take as much money as you can get now and you go to Green Bay. Now you gotta stay healthy, and then in another 4 years you gotta see if you can get another contract. So I don't know. It all depends on what somebody wants in the long term. But Jerry Jones, he's connected. Tony Romo, Troy Aikman, Moose Johnson, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. When Jerry Jones take care of you, he take care of you. I will say that. But you got to help him too, though. So.
Well, Honestly speaking, I mean, Micah was helping him because Micah
Yes.
at one point he asked to get paid before when he would have been a hell of a lot cheaper. You
Right.
know, and I get Jerry maybe wanted to see more from him before he decided to make his decision. I can understand that. But you had the chance to pay him and get him for a lot cheaper and retain him
Right.
in Dallas, you know, and then
Yeah.
still pay CD and still pay Dak. But I'm really glad that Micah decided to do what he did because I'm just like, I know Jerry's all about this marketing and being out in front of the cameras all the time and making these crazy
Right.
off-season, highlights and things of that nature. But sometimes it's too much. You know, like
It
it's
is.
not always necessary. You're the richest franchise in the
Right.
NFL. Like you're a heck of a businessman, you know, but everybody respect goes both ways. I don't feel like he respected Micah enough. Especially like when Micah was like, okay, like I think Micah really started to get upset where his son was like, well, we want to pay Micah, but he has to want to get paid too. And Michael's like, well, wait, hold on. Like, what are you talking about? Because there's been no conversation between me and my agent or anything at all. So don't put that out there like I don't want to get paid. You know, like
Right.
I'm paraphrasing, but the lies are like enough now with the foolishness. You know, and I think Jerry, because of who he is, and like you mentioned his connections, you know, I think
Right.
he feels like he can get away with anything. You know,
He does.
and
He
that's part of
does.
the reason why they haven't won in God knows how long, because your
You're
ego is
correct.
more important to you than actually winning. So you just putting out all this money, but when are you going to win again?
And I agree with you. That's why you saw Lawrence get out of there. He went to Seattle. He said, I have a
Mm-hmm.
better chance of winning the Super Bowl if I get out of Dallas. So again, what are you trying to do? If you want to win a Super Bowl and have an opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
win a championship and get the most money you can get, then you gotta leave Dallas. Dallas ain't gonna be the place for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to do the my career out the football type of thing, then Dallas might be a decision that you would make. I mean, Jerry wants all his players. If he can't get them, he wants all his players to take a haircut. That's one thing I appreciate about Dak because Dak found out very early on in his career what Jerry Jones was about. When the whole Colin Kaepernick thing went down and the way Jerry Jones demanded his team to you better stand up for the flag or else I'm getting rid of your ass and all that kind of thing.
And they all
Dak
should
was
have
like,
sat down because you're not
right,
going to get rid of the whole team.
right. And Dak was like, okay, I see who you are. I'm gonna make sure that when it's time for you to sign that contract, I get every dime I supposed to get. I'm not giving you a haircut, never.
And a no trade clause. Let's not forget
Right.
that.
I'm getting everything. And Dak Prescott then took him to the shed twice. To where at the press conference, Jerry Jones was like, yeah, I overpaid him. Yeah, he got me. He beat me. Yeah, I did. I did. Because I'm not letting you off the hook. Because I know who you really are and I know what you really about.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta make sure I take care of my family first. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that for that, for standing up for not only himself, but for the other players who not understanding
Mm-hmm.
what he's fighting for when he goes into these contract negotiations with Jerry Jones.
I'm really curious to see what it looks like because Pickens will be up for his new deal when the season ends. And right now he's looking pretty good, especially with CD
Yeah,
out.
he's
More
looking
of a
good.
light is on him, and he's delivering thus far. So, and they have the same agent now, George
Yeah.
Pickens and Micah Parsons. So you got to go back to him again anyway. So I wonder if it's going to be like I don't want to pay Pickens. It's going to be a whole thing in the off season again. Like,
Yeah, you already know. Well, Jerry does a lot of that too to keep attention on the Cowboys. Drama is what sells. Back in the day, there used to be a TV show called Dallas. It was really good.
Mhm.
People used to watch it. It was like a nighttime soap opera. And yeah, J.R. Ewing, the big oil man, and they was killing folks. And it was all kind of, it was lazy. Well, that's what Jerry Jones has
Mhm.
recreated. He's
Mhm.
created a soap opera with his franchise of the
Mhm.
Dallas Cowboys. So negative publicity or positive publicity, it's all publicity. It's all good for him.
For him, yeah.
And right. So next year, like you said, Pickens will be up and they'll go through this whole thing. Do I pay him? Do I not? Honestly, he should be trying to work out a contract with Pickens right now. And
He's
try to
not
get
though.
him. Of course
He's
he's
gonna
not
wait till the
because
last minute of the new
right.
season again.
Because if he does it right now, ain't no drone behind that. The drama is wait till the off season when everybody start asking, "Are you gonna pay Pickens?" And Pickens, do you deserve to get paid? And then Jerry, we don't know. Well, we gonna negotiate and we'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure. I love Pickens.
I think he's great. He's great for us
Right.
now.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
been
he's
great
great.
this whole season. He's
Right.
delivered. Okay, we've asked him to
Right.
deliver, and he's delivered each time.
Right. We just need him to take a little bit less, and then we can. That's Jerry Elmo. That's been Jerry since he bought the team in 1989.
Actually, I think I missed some of these comments. Hold on. All right, let me go back. Nasir, Green Bay needs to run the ball more with Jacobs to win the time of possession and rest of the defense. However, Jacobs demonstrated his versatility and explosiveness, so it may not matter.
Yeah, he ran the ball a lot last night.
That he did.
Shoot, they're gonna have to limit some of his carry. I mean, he had 22 carries last night.
Go. I'm sorry, I was reading the comment. Go ahead.
No, yeah, but he had 22 carries last night. It seemed like they couldn't stop him. And I mean, that's just the carries. I ain't even get to the catches he had. Another 4 catches for 71 yards. He had over 150 yards all purpose. I mean, over 150 all purpose yards. So, yeah, I mean, you don't want
He's
to
a
run
force, for
Jacobs
sure.
into the you don't want to run them into the ground, but he's definitely a force that Green Bay gonna have to rely on if they want to have balance to their offense and long term success.
Parsons is the new Albert Hainsworth. Old school, avoid football fans. Know where I'm coming from.
I disagree with you. That now I gotta disagree with you on that one, I see. He is not Albert Hainsworth, not by the least. So, for the people at home who don't understand who Albert Hainsworth was a really good defensive tackle. I believe he was in Tennessee. He was dominant, and he came up for free agency, and he ended up going to Washington. Washington paid him a buttload of money. They paid him all the money to come to Washington, and when he went to Washington, he became a bust. He was a no-show. He wasn't any good anymore, and Washington still had to pay him all that money. I don't think Michael Parsons is Albert Hainsworth. I hope he's not, but I believe that he's better than Albert Hainsworth. We're going to hear about Michael Parsons. We're going to see Michael Parsons in some big games going forward. We didn't even see Albert Hainsworth in big games because Washington was such a putrid franchise after they got Albert Hainsworth. They paid him so much money, they really couldn't pay the other positions to make the team as a whole competitive. So they end up just being one of the worst franchises in the NFL for a long time. So I don't think Michael Parsons is that, but I could be wrong. If he continues to show up like he did last night, then I'm gonna say, you know what, Nasir was on to something.
All right, you guys, really quickly. So before we get out of here, I'm just gonna ask you your take on this really quickly because we know the Chiefs were not looking like the Chiefs of old for a while. Even going back, in my opinion, to last season, like they were barely winning. They still got to the Super Bowl, but they were barely winning. They got there and they got the doors blown off of them. You know, so the Chiefs won yesterday against a very depleted Ravens offense at one point. I mean, nobody was out there except second string or something. I don't know what's going on with them. But with that said, they still won a game. Xavier Worthy is back, and then they're gonna get Rashid Rice. I think what was this week 4? So about 2 more weeks, he should be back.
Week 6.
Yeah. With that being said, like, do you think the Chiefs are back?
I just think the Chiefs got the Ravens number. It's like Lamar Jackson's kryptonite. I'll have to see next week how they perform. They did look good this week, and they look decent against the Giants. So they're on a 2-game winning streak. Of course, they still got Pat Mahomes. So when you say back on top, I never really thought the Chiefs went anywhere. I just thought they had a slow start because Xavier Worthy got hurt in game 1. You're without Rashid Rice. Kelsey is getting a little long in the tooth, and the running game is average at best. So but the offensive line is a little bit better than it was last year or at the end of last year. So as long as they got Pat Mahomes, I always think the Chiefs are going to be near the top and they're going to be competitive and be competing for championships. So I don't look at them as falling off. Now, if they would have had lost to the Ravens yesterday, I'm like, okay, the Chiefs in trouble. They seem to be falling off. But they haven't been, they weren't impressive the first 2 weeks, but the last 2 weeks, they look a little bit more like the Chiefs. And when you got Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, they're going to figure something out. And so I trust them. So I believe that the Chiefs, I'm not going to say they're back on top, but I believe they're right there near the top where the Chiefs have been for the last 5 years.
I mean, I'm not gonna look. They have, like you said, they have Pat, so you're not gonna count them all the way out because they do have Pat there. As long as Pat is there, and they have their coach, like they're gonna have a chance. With that being said, this is a wrap. Like, I do not see this current roster as it is right now. Even with Rashee Rice coming back in the weeks, I don't see this regime running it back again. If they do go back and win, I think it's going to be with new players. I don't think Travis Kelce's going to get another ring. Like, we'll have to see what happens, but I don't see him playing past the season. Looking at him out there, I think he knows, like, it's this time to get ready to hang it up. Like, his vibe is just different out there. He's moving to a different place in his life. He's slower, he's not getting as many touches as he once did, so I think he knows. But for me, the biggest thing is they were exposed in that Super Bowl. People are not scared of them anymore. Before, it was like, these are the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, it was like this fear that was there because you know who you're facing and they always win and they're always in the Super Bowl, every single year and all these different things. And they got bombarded, by the Eagles. And I think ever since then, people are like, we could beat them. Like, we saw what the Eagles did. We good, like we're not afraid, than what happened with the Chargers. So I'm just like, again, like I said, I'm not going to say that they're never going to win again, but I just think right now with the roster that they have, I don't see them running it back to Super Bowl without some new pieces. And I don't see Travis Kelce getting another ring with this team. I think he's done with, he has 3, right? I think he has 3. They have 3 altogether so far. Yeah. I think he's going to retire with his 3. And I think, like I said, people are not scared of him anymore. Like, there's just Chiefs. Oh, we're playing the Chiefs. Before it was like, we're playing the Chiefs. Right. Now I think it kind of switched to the Eagles a little bit. Because the Eagles, I feel like a little bit now, like what the Chiefs used to be. Like, they could win so many different ways. Now the Eagles are kind of doing that. Like, they win all these different ways, with Saquon, without Saquon, with Jalen, without Jalen using his legs and the tush push and all these different things. So the biggest thing, like I said, the fear is not there anymore. They have they're aware now. And they're not just unaware of who the Chiefs are. But now it's like, we can beat them. We see the blueprint, we can figure it out.
Yeah, well, we have to keep in mind that in the Super Bowl, the offensive line got exposed. The Eagles didn't blitz the Kansas City Chiefs one time in the Super Bowl. They got all that pressure with their front four. So in the offseason, one thing that Kansas City wanted to shore up was the offensive line, which they made improvements on the offensive line. You got to understand, they were one of the best defensive teams in the league last year. And they're one of the best defensive teams still. As long as you got Chris Jones and number 56 and Bolton and McDuffie, as long as you still got these guys out there on defense, the defense is going to be very well. Pat Mahomes had his worst statistical season just last year, and they went 15-2 and rolled all the way to the Super Bowl. Andy Reid and the brass and the guys in the front office, they understood that Travis Kelce is getting older by the year. That's why they went out and got a Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice got into some trouble and they kind of took him away from the team. Then he got hurt last year. So that kind of, affected that. But Rashee Rice is the real deal. He's going to come back, and with him and Xavier Worthy on the field, that opens up the offense. That takes some of the attention off Travis Kelce and allow him to roam like he normally would roam and get into those open spaces. So once Rashee Rice get back, I expect Pat Mahomes to put up bigger numbers than he's putting up right now. But right now, it's just about the defense playing well enough to keep teams at bay and allow Kansas City to have a chance to win. So I think there's still a threat in the AFC and a team to reckon with. because the defense is so good.
Mhm.
And once you get Rashee Rice back, that's just going to make the offense a little bit better because they have made assurances on the offensive line to help protect Pat Mahomes.
Well, we're gonna see. We're
Yeah.
gonna see. That's one thing. This is a week-to-week league,
Right,
but
it's
you know
week.
what? You know what? My Bills are still undefeated, you guys.
Yeah.
MVP Joshua Tyrell Allen. All right, I always say that. You know how I feel about Josh. So the
Yeah.
Bills are still undefeated, and so are the Eagles. So we'll see how
Yeah,
long their
yeah,
streak
yeah.
continues.
Yes, we will.
All right, you guys, we're gonna close this one now. We've been on here for a hot minute. A lot of great dialogue, great conversation. Nasir, I think he went to bed. He said, "Thank you for the beautiful evening. Enjoyed the discussion and dialogue. God bless and be safe." So yeah, he went night night.
We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody who stopped by and got involved and got in the chat. It was good talking to y'all. Good talking to you too this evening.
Yeah, I know. You guys. I'm always like messaging him, and I see something happen with football. So I'm like, let me just bring him on here to do discussion with me, out in the open. And plus, I get to learn some more stuff as well. Listening to you, and obviously you're more knowledgeable than me, so I'm always willing to
I
learn
don't
something
know.
different.
I'm just grateful that you give me the opportunity, and you got good perspective. I can tell that you're really passionate about sports and you're well spoken. So
I drove
appreciate it.
my family crazy. Like, are you still watching sports? Another game? Another show? I'm like, yes.
You know, that's how I was. I would watch sports all the time. That's all I wanted to watch was sports. And one of my homeboys, he actually lives in Brooklyn. One day I'm gonna come up there and
Hey.
visit him. Right. And so he says, he got mad one day. He was like, "Man, all you want to do is watch sports, man. You should be working in sports. You watch all these sports like that." And I was like, you know what?
You're
It
right.
makes sense. And then
Mhm.
that's how I kind of started going and working towards sports. You know, I had to intern at a radio station for a couple years, and once
Cool.
I interned, I networked. Hines Ward, his wife,
Mhm.
actually was a source for me to get my first job at NBA TV, and I was working at NBA TV. When I got there,
Mhm.
you know, you had to take a test. You don't just go work with somebody. You take a test, and I took the test. It was supposed to be a 2-day interview, but the guy called me up front. He said, "I know this is supposed to be a 2-day interview." He said, "But you don't have to come back for a second interview." He said, "We've never had anybody score this high on the basketball test before. So
Oh,
you
wow.
hired. Don't even worry about it. Everybody else, we'll see y'all for the second interview." So I started working NBA TV. More
Cool.
Connects sent me to CNN Sports. Again, I had to take a test. The dude gave me like 30 minutes to take a sports test. He came back to check on me in 10 minutes. I was like, "I'm done with the test." He was like, "It's only been 10 minutes. I said, "Yeah, but I'm done." And he came back. He said, "Man, you're the only person that ever got every question on the test right." He said, "You just tell me when you want to work and you got to work." And so I was
Oh,
able to do
cool.
that. I was able to do 92.9 The Game, which is the top radio sports station,
Mhm.
where that's where I met Sam Mitchell at, because I was a
Okay.
producer for him, Dominique, Dennis Scott. We had a basketball show that we did on Sundays, and they
Mhm.
the ones that kind of validated me, and they were like, "Man, you really know your basketball." You know, when Sam Mitchell, a guy who was coach of the year, tells me, "You right. You right about that. I changed my mind. You really know what you're talking about." And I started being his guy that would give him all the information, you know,
Mhm.
almost like, you know, his producer. And then I started doing hosting on the radio stations and
Mhm.
things of that nature, as well as producing. So that's how some of the people who were working at NBA TV would end up coming and telling me, they're like, "Man, you the best sports debater in Atlanta." And so, you know, they just kept giving me
Mhm.
encouragement and feeding me. Cordell Stewart was one of my top guys at the radio
He's the one
station.
that was married to Portia, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Me and him would talk every day. We would go at it about the SEC, who had the better conference, the SEC, at the
Mhm.
time it was the Big 8 or the Big 12. So me and him used to jab at each other every day, going back and forth. And so, you know, but I built a lot of good relationships,
Mhm.
and those relationships carried me until the day, you know. So even when I decided to get out of the game, because there's a lot of politicking in the game,
You
and I
got
was
out of
gonna do,
sports? I thought you were still in it.
no, I am still in it, but
Mhm.
I kind of got away from that platform and started doing it for myself.
Got
You
you.
know,
Okay.
I was doing podcasts before podcasts was really a thing. You know, I had
Okay.
my own website and started because I had a connection with the Atlanta Hawks. The PR man, me and him got good. So he would let me come in and interview all the players and come to the games and go
Cool.
to all the playoff games. So that's how I was telling you I kind of know the
Mhm.
steps you got to take. And I think you'll be very good at that because you're
Mhm.
passionate about it. You got good content, you know your stuff, and you can make people want to watch games that they normally wouldn't want to watch. And that's what
Like the WNBA game, the Fever.
right. And that's what the league needs. They need somebody like you who like, you know, who can provide something for the game. And so I think you'll be excellent at that, and you can do a lot in the game. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to be a sideline reporter, if you want to host a show on a big network, if you want to, whatever it is you want to do, I believe that you got the chance to do it. And so that's why I'm grateful that I can, you know, join your show, chop it up with you, and hopefully encourage you to go be your best you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm losing my voice, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm like, my voice is like starting to get hoarse. It's been a long day work, and then I worked out. I was cooking, and then getting ready for this, and I'm on here with you. So, yeah, and I'll be back on again because people play Aces today. Around I think 9:30. When I go home, elimination game.
Oh
So that
yeah,
should
yeah,
be
yeah,
good.
yeah. I'll be
That
watching.
should be good. That should be good. We'll be here. We'll be here. We'll be here live again.
And
Thank you so much,
tomorrow,
though.
Tuesday
Huh?
at 5 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
the In the Game podcast with Sam Mitchell and myself. We got a lot of basketball. Basketball is right around the corner
Yes, it is.
next month. So we got a lot to talk about. Kawhi Leonard and Giannis, they had their what we call media day interviews today. So we're gonna get into some of that, chop some of that up. Maybe we'll talk a little football. Maybe we'll talk a little Ryder Cup because the United States got their ass beat again. So there's a lot of things to talk about. So Tuesday on the In the Game
Baseball.
Network, or you can. We're not even finna be talking about baseball
Yeah,
today
yeah, I
like
don't do
that.
baseball either, but I know the wild card starts today. So
Yeah, we might do a little bit of baseball, but we're definitely gonna talk sports and whatever. And so that's the In the Game Network on YouTube, or you can go to at One Man Cave on YouTube. And 5 o'clock, well, if you can't make it at 5, it's recorded. So just go in, watch, hit the like button, subscribe, and we appreciate you.
yes, sir. Do you said you also have a different podcast too, right? You have two, right? You have the In the
Yeah.
Game and then other one.
On Mondays at 1 o'clock, we have the raw side of things. That's
Okay.
a little, yeah, that's different. That's for the people who want that, who just want some raw truth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So okay,
we talk
gotcha.
about
Okay.
all kind of stuff. We don't talk about sports.
Oh,
But
okay.
you know what I'm saying? We talk all kind of stuff, relationships. We got
Okay.
a young YN who comes in and we trying to get his life right. You
A
know,
young YN. I'm done.
yeah. We're trying to get him on the right track, but all he want to
Uh-huh.
do is Swiss cheese, folks. So you know, we gotta
Well, all
we
right.
gotta we gotta talk to him. But yeah, it's a very funny show. Comedian Sir Bam Bam is the main host of the show. So we have a lot of fun, but we do talk about a lot of serious issues, and we try to motivate people to do the right things, but in a very comedic way. So y'all can
All
check
right,
that
you
show
guys.
out
So
too.
yeah, check all it. Check everything out. Check everything out, you guys. All right. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. Make sure if you have not subscribed, you subscribe to both my channel, Just Simply Sports with Katja, and of course you subscribe. I believe you're on the One Man Cave, right? Show?
Yeah,
Is that your
at
channel
One
you're right
Man
now?
Cave.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't see exactly what channel you were on right there. So if you guys make sure you subscribe to both, hit the like button on your way out. Tell a friend, tell a friend. We appreciate you so much. I will see you guys later on. Fever versus Aces elimination game. We're going to find out who is going to be meeting the Mercury in WBA finals starting October 3rd. So should be a good one, you guys. Hopefully, I'm praying for a good game. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, James, for your time. I appreciate you.
Oh man, you went with James. You've been talking to Sam or watching Sam too much.
I have not. But thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time and your knowledge, of course, and of course your wisdom and your positive vibes on my sports ventures beyond the
You're very welcome.
podcast. So thank you so much. Have a
All
great
right.
night. See
All
you
right, you
guys
too.
soon. Good night.